Follow Brix. 1620 The Zone.
For me, when I think about Nebraska, I just think about that helmet. It's just like, it's iconic to me. It's all across college football what that means. Are we being talked about right now? I mean, are people talking about, wow, it's, I'm not talking about within Nebraska, I'm talking about nationally. I don't want our fans coming to the games just because they love Nebraska. I want them coming because they love Nebraska and they know they're going to see a good football team. If we're making progress towards that, then people will respect who we are. Our players will respect who we are. Our opponents will respect who we are. And that's the first step towards championship mindset. It'll be amazing. It'll be amazing. I came here for a reason. I came here because I wanted to raise my kids here, as I've said. I came here because I believe in this place and the leadership. And I came here because I know what University of Nebraska means to college football. And we made a decision to build it the right way, in a way that would adequately represent the values of Nebraska. And so while we're not getting the result we want right now, doesn't mean I'm at all deterred. Whereas I know some people are like, man, it's been like, however many years of this. For me, it's 2 games of what we're trying to build. And so I'm so excited to come home. Yeah, I absolutely love it here. Hope that we're here for a long time. And being there, with my wife, my kids, it'll be special for me.
This is Mornings with Sharp and Handley on 1620 The Zone. 1620thezone.com and 1620 The Zone TV. Now here's Gary, Nick, and Jimmy.
I would guess, would you not, that Nebraska will sell out.
Good morning. Happy Football Friday on the road again. We are at Hy-Vee. It's the Big Red Unauthorized Breakfast. We're at 132nd and Dodge. We here. Right, Kim? We here. Kim's in charge here. She's been working here for 25 years. She is in the house. Nick, Jimmy is in the house. Gary, Mike Neville. The Peter Man is back in studio. It is a Friday ahead of volleyball.
Yes. Volleyball night in Nebraska. Husker football day in Lincoln.
All right, showdown in L-Town. Actually, tomorrow is shaping up as a great, great sports day of what's going on in Lincoln, college football, Major League Baseball playoffs, USC 294. It is a good time to be a sports fan. It's even better if you are a listener of 1620 because we are, as I mentioned, in the Linden Market HyVee, 132nd and Dodge. You can't miss us. Right when you're driving on the Dodge Expressway, you look over right off of the 132nd Street exit. You got the big Hy-Vee right here. We are. Would you say we're not? I don't want to call this a cafeteria. Are we in the restaurant?
We're in the commissary.
We're in the what? We are in the dining area.
Yeah.
So when you come in, take a quick right and then come and see us for fun and frivolity. And they've got, as it travels with us, the breakfast buffet.
The traveling buffet. Oh. That's right. And we do not do anything preparation-wise for it, so don't worry about that. The very best take care of that. And if I can always give anything breakfast item-wise at Hy-Vee a plug, you're not going to do any better than the pancakes they have here. They're amazing.
Really?
They're really good.
I don't know that you want to be known just for your pancakes unless you're IHOP.
Exactly. I mean, you think, okay, IHOP and the pancakes.
Well,
but
if it's in your name,
Sure.
you've got to be good at it. I don't know. They have some good pastries here.
Oh, they have great things, but I'm just saying their pancakes are the best that I've had. And I've had some pancakes, folks.
Wow.
They are.
That is
Nick Handley, pancake connoisseur.
That is a huge statement.
Oh, it's yeah. I understand what I've exposed myself to. I understand, like, oh, are you kidding me? Have you tried this or you tried that? I feel like I've tried most breakfast joints that would be at least be of the popular variety, and I would still say, give me one better than Hy-Vee when it comes to pancakes.
Whoa! All right,
wow.
To the message boards we go. That is a ringing endorsement from Nick. Welcome in, everybody. Glad to have you in. It is head of Nebraska Northwestern tomorrow at 2:30, and then, of course, what will happen at 7 o'clock between Nebraska-Wisconsin. Man, tomorrow's just shaping up as a great sports day. Today's going to be a great weather day. I'm looking at I'm looking at TV tonight where Elkhorn South, Omaha North, it's going to be like 80 degrees at kickoff.
Yeah.
I mean, the weather last night was beautiful. The weather tonight's going to be great. Tomorrow in Lincoln's going to be fantastic. Don't even look at next week because we're all about
That's
keeping the energy, keeping everybody excited.
Friday vibes.
But we have lots on Nebraska Northwestern in the weekend in football that includes a big matchup in the Big Ten over on the other side, and then maybe even a bigger matchup for a battle for a pig over in Iowa City. Plus, we'll get you updated on our thoughts on what happened yesterday in baseball. We finally had at least one dramatic moment. We finally had a walk-off in the Diamondbacks Phillies series to get Arizona within 2-1. But then Houston, the great road team, even up their series with the Rangers 2-2 late last night.
Yeah, we're back. All right.
Yeah, you
Verlander tonight.
Hey,
reverse jinx.
You're such a solid fan over there.
Yeah.
You were like bailing after 2 games. You're like, boy, I hope the Cowboys bail me out.
Phillies, Astros.
Your
Here we
Astros
go.
are 2-2, and they'll never lose again on the road.
Yeah, unfortunately, they have to play the last 2 games at home. They need to petition just to stay in Arlington. Go back to 2020. It worked then. Do it now.
But they got the 2 losses at home out of the way now, so there should be good. Okay, you go back home, you're due for at least one.
And Verlander today.
Because they're just below 500 regular season at home, so you've already got 2 under. So now you can get 1. You'd still be under 500. It's going to be fine, Jimmy. It's going to be fine. But I thought you'd be wearing orange today.
Let's just say for the dog.
Yeah. Well, she could wear her jersey. It didn't jinx it.
How is Bailey today?
She's sleeping.
Oh yeah, wasn't that the concern when the dog was brought into the studio
That
yesterday?
it might have jinxed it, and you end up losing the series 4 games.
No, hell, you even got more runs.
Yeah,
hey, bring the dog around more often.
I don't know if
maybe more pitchers aren't going to make it out of the first inning.
I don't know if they let her into Hy-Vee.
Hey Kim, you were just on TV. I hope you said hello to everybody. Kim and I are tight. Kim's worked here for 25 years.
Kim and Debbie.
All right. Let me give you the lineup. We got a great lineup. The usual Friday guests will stop by. Brett Ciancia, Lee Sterling, also Mike Schaefer and Matt Verzal. The lineup brought to you by the Rooferys of John Higgins Weather Guard. And, of course, where you have to embrace it's a volleyball school. I know there's a little bit of pushback that Matt Rule yesterday talked about volleyball. It's supposed to be Nebraska Northwestern, but that's where we are. And come on. 1 versus 2, Nebraska-Wisconsin, the past history. We all know that it's 7 o'clock tomorrow in Lincoln. That is the show. And Nebraska's been a volleyball school. Some might even say after John Walker's team, Nebraska is a women's soccer school as they won again last night as a ranked team. But they talk about volleyball in a football press conference. That just solidifies you've arrived. But Lincoln Arnold will join us coming up a little bit later with his insight on this mega 1 versus 2 in volleyball, where it has captivated the attention of the Husker fan who doesn't really follow anything but maybe football and maybe a little men's basketball, maybe a little baseball. You don't really pay attention to the women's sports. It has captivated you where you're looking to go 2-0 tomorrow.
Yeah, and that's what you have the great matchups that sort of take you outside of just the diehards, where you actually have a matchup where people that are, like you said, like just invested into Nebraska athletics, whether we're talking about men's or women's basketball game of large proportion, a volleyball game, a baseball game, where everybody is, again, sort of circling it. They're arranging their day around it. They're arranging how they're going to watch the football game so they can accommodate viewing the volleyball game in a primetime atmosphere if you're not able to go, that is. And it was interesting yesterday that you did get the conversation. Good catch, by the way.
What the? That just followed us from the last Hy-Vee.
I know. How
you doing, ma'am?
We bring certain things with us from each Hy-Vee. That there was the conversation yesterday at the press conference, and I think at some point during the press conference, Matt Rule actually got talked into going. For a guy who says he passes out after a game, he's got the knot in his stomach on both sides of the football that once that game adrenaline comes down, he just wipes out, which I think we can all understand. Now it sounds like he might be going. It sounds like he talked himself into going to the game despite fatigue.
I have friends that have tickets to both or season ticket holders to both, and they're doing the math on how, like, football game could get over 6-ish. Do they have enough time to go to their car and get to the Devaney Center, or will they just walk to the Devaney Center? Yeah, so it's a big day in L-Town. So we'll discuss all of that as we join you from Hy-Vee. Also, tomorrow is kind of the celebration of the 100th anniversary. So throughout the show, you're more than welcome to stop by 132nd and Dodge, the Linden Market HyVee, with Kim in charge over here, 25 years as a Hy-Vee employee.
Nice.
They're going to give her a Hy-Vee as a retirement gift.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You don't know this, but way out west, they're building a new Hy-Vee. It's going to be Kim's.
Yep. And you don't have to do any of like the maintenance work or GM work or anything. It's just yours.
We'll talk about the best moments at Memorial Stadium, the best players that have played there, the best games, your thoughts as well, because we all have thoughts on that stadium that is 100 years old and the greatest game that we've seen. I told you yesterday, I know that I'm over 100 games. I have seen in person in Memorial Stadium 107 games.
So you did the math last night.
I was not there in 1923. Despite what you hear that I'm old, I was not there in 1923. But we'll talk about the best moments, best players, and
That's
the best.
That is a lot.
Yeah. That's a flex.
Yeah,
That is
I don't know. It's a flex. It's probably I'm old and I've been in this business in Nebraska for a long time. So that's where you go.
You went as a young boy. You were a student. Then you did some work with the radio network as well. So you were on the sidelines.
I only got a year of being a student in the stands because then I was on the radio broadcast. That fly's going to just bug the heck out of me.
Need chopsticks.
So great football weekend. It is also last night started the last weekend of high school football. Tonight, the big game in town is Elkhorn South and Omaha North, and that's pretty key because the winner of that game could be in a position to avoid Omaha South. It's crazy. It just shows a lot of respect and maybe some realization that people are trying to avoid Omaha West Side, who is a juggernaut. Last night, saw them in person once again. They post their fifth shutout. They beat Lincoln Northeast 56-0. But people are like, okay, we don't want to be the number 4 seed. We want to be the number 3 seed. And then what seeds are on the opposite side of Omaha West Side? They're kind of doing that in B as well to avoid Bennington. But Lincoln or Omaha West Side is primed for another run. Wasn't much of a game last night. Mutually agreed upon. They had a running clock after the first quarter. It was 35-0. It was 21-0 West Side. And I remember thinking, okay, there must be about 4 minutes to go. We were 3 minutes into the game. So they are the real deal. But I have to tell you, so I tweeted this out last night, and this has been a discussion with Anthony Rezac, who his twin brother Teddy is going to Notre Dame, and he'll play safety at Notre Dame. And Anthony has been the starting quarterback at Westside ever since Cole Payton left.
Yep.
And so I've seen Anthony grow, and Anthony is flat out just a winner. Their senior class, starting as sophomores, are now 33-2. They're trying to get back to their 5th straight final. They're trying to win their 2nd straight Class A final. And Anthony has grown in that offense. And this year, don't look at numbers because they've only had their starters playing in the 4th quarter one time. But the discussion about Anthony Rezac has been, well, when's he going to get an offer? And it's not just a Nebraska thing. It is, when's he going to get an offer from a Group of 5 or a Power 5 that is not a service academy? And it's a mystery to a lot of people, and it's probably a mystery to Anthony as well, because all you got to do is watch him play. And I know how quarterbacks work, Nick, with quarterbacks commit earlier and earlier. Colleges want to grab their quarterback like well before their senior year begins. And sometimes you get left out there, and then you have to go, okay, where is my place? But I will tell you that Anthony is in a good place and has handled this well. Because everybody asks him.
Yep.
Everybody asks his dad DJ, probably his mom Lisa, probably asks his twin brother. They probably stop Dom down in Nashville and go, hey, what's going on with Anthony? But he's handled it really well. And I tweeted out last night. So Anthony sent out 50 letters to schools they had an eye on. He sent his huddle link with it and just saying, hey, this is who I am. This is what I've done. I think I've been overlooked. And the attention has, started to roll in a little bit. He has been to Notre Dame. He has been to Nebraska. He has been to KU. There's interest from Utah State. There's interest from Northwestern. There's interest from Florida. But here's the situation. And I kind of said this last night, is you have Notre Dame on your resume when the football life is over. That goes a long way. So he's in a good spot. I know it's getting a lot of traction, a lot of interesting discussion on Twitter about Anthony. But my feeling right now, one, that a Nebraska offer will not come. And two, that he will end up with his twin brother at Notre Dame. And that's actually a good thing for Anthony.
Well, and this is what I actually appreciated, and I believe it's the wide receivers coach at Westside, Coach Rice. Yeah, and you said don't go with the single game or the single season, his senior year season statistic, but I appreciated that Coach Rice puts out the career passing stats and puts out the career rushing stats, because I think collectively it kind of gives you an idea. Oh yeah, and by the way, you're leading the team. You're one of the leaders, the main leaders of a generationally great high school football team in a class that has very good high school football players that are going to be playing college football at various levels. 31-2 career passing stats at 70% completion percentage, 4,800 passing yards, 58 passing touchdowns to 6 interceptions. Career rushing stats, 255 attempts for 1,936 yards and 31 rushing touchdowns. There's not a lot to really poke at there. And again, when you're getting everyone's best shot, I think it's very telling. And I've listened to him after a lot of games, because there's the other thing too, is he's interviewed just by about everybody after a game, because he's usually the standout player. And the only game that I saw him in, the Bellevue West game, where there was a lot of different guys you wanted to keep your eye on, he stood out more so than the guy that's got the full ride to Nebraska. Now, again, I understand styles are they vary, but you could just tell that's a football player more than anything. But listening to him talk is about as humble as apple pie. And so I guess if you're put in this situation where you do feel like maybe you're underappreciated, the clock is ticking, you'd love to get that offer, you'd love to find that really good fit. I think it is going to be about how you carry yourself. And you know him way better than I do, but just from what I gather, the way that he communicates after a game, the excitement of the moment and whatever he accomplished in various games, he comes across as a guy that I think is, first of all, more mature than what you'd see most 17, 18-year-olds, but also seems to be a guy that he doesn't exude any type of pessimism or, maybe a chip on his shoulder that it's going to kind of make him sort of me against the world type mentality. Now, if he uses that in his play, more power to him, but he just seems like I think that maybe the best way to describe him, from what I've seen, again, just in post-game interviews from pretty much the entire season, just seems to be a very level-headed kid. And I think you got to be in this situation.
Yeah, and again, it's going to work out. And, I know the sentiment in state, and not every kid deserves an offer. But I think Anthony is a different kind of player. But Anthony is tough, just like Caleb. I say this to Damon, and I've said it to him before. And, if you watch Caleb Benning just test, he's probably not going to test very well. And this aggravates me because a lot of people go off film. Like, they don't go watch in person. Like, Caleb all you have to do is watch him play in person. And you realize his football IQ is through the roof. And what he does to be successful at the game of football on a Friday night when the lights are on and the scoreboard is turned on shows why he's the number one player in the state. And Anthony is a little bit like that. You can watch film and go, I'm not sure about that throwing motion. Then you go watch him play in person and you realize the kid is a difference maker. But it's going to work out for them. And I will tell you, it's kind of interesting. And, we always talk about the guys that get away, especially at the quarterback position, because the quarterback position in state hasn't produced, year after year Power 5 guys. We look at Zane Flores at Oklahoma State, who has yet to play and, was already kind of knew he was going to redshirt. You look at Easton Stick, who goes to North Dakota State. You look at Cole Payton, who's a redshirt sophomore right now at North Dakota State and is aligned to be the starter next year. We do that because that's what we do. And in Anthony's case, I think we got the same thing, but I'm not going to get all agitated by the Nebraska thing. There was a visit, there wasn't a ton of interest, and now he moves on. And I will tell you, it's going to work out for him. I kind of told his dad last night this on the field. I said, look, Marcus Freeman loves your family, the head coach at Notre Dame. And he said, yeah, let me tell you this. So they were there for the USC game. And I mean, it sounds like if you went to the Notre Dame USC game and you were there on behalf of Notre Dame, you basically committed. It was an incredible atmosphere, and Notre Dame was great.
Turn that down.
Marcus Freeman's recruiting pitch to Anthony to follow his brother. Now, these are preferred walk-ons. Now, the 5 schools I mentioned, no scholarship offers, but preferred walk-on. He said, hey, let me tell you this. You come here next year, you could be our holder. How would you like to run out of the tunnel wearing a Notre Dame uniform in your first game in college, and there's 100,000 people at Kyle Field because that's where Notre Dame opens up the 24 season? That's the recruiting pitch to him. It's kind of tough to turn down. Get in the school, get in the system, and then see what happens.
Right.
And also, I don't know that people just leave Notre Dame, but you guys know how this is nowadays with a quarterback. Look at more than half of the quarterbacks essentially playing Power 5 football this year that started on week 1 are portal guys.
Right.
So it's going to work out. But it's, they've got to run. They're going to be difficult to knock off. And I can't wait because there's a lot of intrigue post where West Side is on their side of the bracket. Bellevue West is getting healthy. Davon Hall came back last night. So they're cranking up. It could be Papillion La Vista and Bellevue West in a first-round matchup, which would be a great, great matchup. Millard North may have qualified for the postseason for the first time since 2020. So it's a great time of year for football. We're into the second half of the Nebraska season, and the high school football season is cranking up with the postseason.
I want to add this with Anthony, too, because this is probably more of my experience when being able to be around high school baseball players. And I know he also does that as well. But there's something when you – and maybe this is – I feel like this is probably more for the fans' take than it actually is the coaches' take. Because any coach, any college coach worth their salt, they know to – there's a reason they're going to go visit you in your secondary sport or your third sport because they want to see you competing outside of that sport. They want to see how you are interacting with a different set of athletes or a different coach or a different structure, a different type of competition. But competition being the key thing, watching how you compete. And then when you think of anybody on that West Side roster, but using Anthony as an example, when I think of some of the guys that when we had a chance to coach at Millard North when I was an assistant there, is maybe we had some pitchers that weren't necessarily popping 92, 93 miles an hour. But we had guys that were throwing strikes. We had guys that were competing, guys that were fighting through. But if you look at their record, you looked at their ERA, you looked at how many free passes that they were giving out, and you saw that those numbers were low. But then you watch them in key situations, which don't always show up on statistics, at least in maybe advanced stats in the professional level, but not in high school. What type of pitch execution do they have with a full count? In a tight game, little things like that. Basically, as we like to refer to it, as winning time.
Yeah. Yes.
And when you think about winners, how that translates. I mean, we can sift through the 40 times. We can sift through all of the different stats that make us gaga over recruit. And a lot of these guys are on successful football teams. I understand that. But there's just something about that gene of winning. And it's hard to replicate, especially when you watch that person from start to finish and you watch them in the game. You watch them maybe away from the play. You watch how they interact on the sideline, their demeanor, how they carry themselves, and all of those little things that you can't necessarily get from a huddle highlight clip is something that I think from a fan standpoint, sometimes we miss out on. And I think any coaches, especially ones that are worth their salt, they actually zero in on that stuff because they're there for a reason. They've already seen the film. They know what they can do. They want to see those little things like that. How are they in those bigger moments? How are they interacting with their teammates when maybe they have a 3-and-out, as opposed to when they march down 85 yards in 3 minutes and punched in the end zone? What's their demeanor? Are they even keeled? Does much of it change? Are they continuously engaged in the good times, bad? Little things like that. That again, I go back to. Is the kid just a winner? And by all accounts, kid's a winner.
All right, we are off and running. We're at the Hy-Vee at 132nd and Dodge. Look at the managers here. All right, he was up early. He's checking in on us.
Well,
sir,
he heard about a pumpkin.
I need more pumpkins, and I also need a knife to carve that. Professional pumpkin carver right here. Iowa State Fair, 1986.
They wouldn't let him do the butter sculpture.
Yes.
Yeah.
All right. Brett Cianci is coming up in an hour from Hy-Vee at 132nd and Dodge. When we come back, good teams win, great teams cover. The spread is 11.5 tomorrow. Does it matter if Nebraska covers in this game? It's kind of going back to our discussion yesterday. Or do you say, just win, baby? We will get into that and much more. Plus, we will discuss the showdown in L-Town tomorrow night between Nebraska and Wisconsin in volleyball, plus a busy slate of weekend football. And we may steal something from you here. That is such a come on.
It's quite the tease.
We will, it is.
Yes.
I don't know where we're going with this.
Up.
We could go so many different directions here.
All of that to come. We're live at Hy-Vee, 132nd and Dodge. Please stop in. They got the breakfast buffet. We got a lot of things going on here, a lot of moving parts. We got pumpkin carvings coming up. We got foam footballs. We got other giveaways, all for you here at Hy-Vee at 132nd and Dodge. It's the Big Red Unauthorized Breakfast. Jimmy, Nick, and Gary on 1620 The Zone.
Mornings with Sharp and Handley on 1620 The Zone and 1620thezone.com with Gary Sharp and Nick Handley. Big names, big games. We've got them all. 1620 The Zone.
Hey everyone, Josh Peterson here for my friends at Kugler Vision. Football season has arrived. You'll be going to games and maybe you have seats high up. Well, go to Kugler Vision and make sure that you can see all of the action on the football field. Low monthly payment plans are available, and Kugler Vision gladly accepts your flex plans and medical spending accounts too. Give them a call at 402-558-2211 or schedule online at KuglerVision.com.
You know, if we know anything, it's that local matters. Local shops, local restaurants, even locally brewed beers. October is Drink Local Month. So the Nebraska Craft Brewers Guild is challenging beer, seltzer, and cider drinkers like you to put your palate through its paces and drink local brews. Because seriously, Nebraska is really on the cutting edge when it comes to brewers who think outside the box. And besides, you really want to be drinking what they drink over in Iowa? Didn't think so. Click Nebraska.beer to find brews near you. La Casa del Huarache, serving authentic Mexican food in Omaha for more than 19 years. They're the house of the famous huaraches, topped with green or red salsa, and your favorite protein like asada, pastor, chicken, chorizo, or ham. Then finished with queso fresco. There's a full menu with your favorite Mexican dishes and much more. And La Casa del Huarache now has a sushi and seafood bar, as well as your favorite cold beer and cocktails. Visit them at 4826 Q Street. Open 7 days a week from 7 a.m. to 9 p.m. Ask for their daily specials.
Rock from the darker side. Disturbed live. Get up, among it down with the sickness. Take back your life tour, January 29th. CHI Health Center Arena. New album, Divisive, available now. With special guest, Falling in Reverse. And Plush. Tickets on sale Friday at 10 a.m. at Ticketmaster.com. Don't miss Disturbed live.
The brand new Dollar General Distribution Center in Blair is now hiring. Starting wage is up to $22 per hour with benefits including medical, dental, vision, 401k, and a $2,000 sign-on bonus. Apply today by texting DG Warehouse to 25000 or online at dollargeneral.com/careers. Again, apply today by texting DG Warehouse to 25000 or online at dollargeneral.com/careers. Dollar General can't wait to have you become a team member at their brand new distribution center.
Texting enrolls you in recurring automated marketing text messages. Consent not required to purchase. Message and data rates may apply.
Leaving for the gym so early?
I'm ready to go.
Since you started taking Nugenix Total T, you've been acting like when we met in our 20s.
I feel like myself again. Lower testosterone after turning 40 slowed me down. Nugenix Total T has been a game changer for me.
What is it about Nugenix Total T that's different?
Well, it's a patented key ingredient called testofen. It boosts free and total testosterone to help you get back the drive and energy from your youth. It's backed by 5 clinical studies.
I've seen the huge difference it's made for you in the gym, at work, and in the bedroom.
I'm so glad I sent them a text for my complimentary bottle. Text ALL to 42424 right now for your complimentary bottle of Nugenix Total T. Nugenix is the #1 selling testosterone boosting brand at GNC and Walmart. Do it now, and we'll also send you a bottle of Nugenix Thermo X, our newest, most powerful fat burner ever. Absolutely free. Text ALL to 42424. That's ALL to 42424. Products and statements have not been evaluated by the FDA. These products are not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease or illness.
It's Halloween at Genesis Health Clubs. Join with no enrollment fee, no contract, and save 31% per month every month. It may be the spookiest time of the year, but starting a new fitness routine doesn't have to be scary. Genesis Health Clubs has top-of-the-line equipment and the absolute best personal trainers, tennis professionals, and group fitness instructors to help keep you motivated and headed towards your fitness goals. Plus, relax in luxury afterwards with saunas, steam rooms, and fluffy towel service. Whatever your fitness needs, Genesis is here to help every step of the way, and there's nothing scary about that. This Halloween, join Genesis Health Clubs with no enrollment fee, no contract, and save 31% per month every single month. But hurry, this offer will end before you have a chance to count your Halloween candy. It ends on Halloween and won't extend. Come to Genesis and get in the best shape of your life so you can handle anything those zombies, werewolves, and vampires throw at you. Plus, get your New Year's resolutions checked off with time to spare. Join Genesis Health Clubs with no enrollment fee, no contract, and save 31% per month every single month.
Attention sales professionals. NRG Media is looking for an accomplished business-to-business salesperson who wants to take their success and skills to a new level. Is this you? Our account executives work with local businesses to create marketing plans to help them get more customers. On air, digital, on-site, audio, video, it's all part of what you could sell. A sales career with NRG lets you make a real difference. Get more info and apply online at nrgmedia.com. NRG Media is an equal opportunity employer.
Now back to mornings with Sharp and Handley on 1620 The Zone.
All right, live at Hy-Vee, 132nd and Dodge. Good start to the morning. People are rolling in here to have a little breakfast. You can dine with us, Nick, Jimmy, Gary, mornings with Sharp and Handley. Brett Ciancia from Pick Six Previews coming up here in a little bit. You can also interact with the show at 1620thezone.com.
By the way, real quickly, Ben on the JTech Construction Zone Twitter feed says my pancake take is 100% correct. They're the best.
I don't think I've ever had pancakes here.
So first you had mayonnaise and hot dogs yesterday, and now this.
But
Kim,
no, I did not condone that. I just knew that was a thing.
How good are the pancakes here? They are awesome. Okay. Are you just saying that because you worked here for 25 years and you're looking at your pension? All right. I take your word. Nick brought it up and you solidified, Nick. So
yeah,
pancakes are the way to come. Can we get like a stack right here? No.
Oh.
Wow.
But you got a hug.
Oh.
Yeah. Before the day's over, I'm going to have Kim's grandchildren with me. All right. So yesterday was kind of interesting with Matt Rule and kind of talking about Northwestern. He used the phrase barometer of our soul.
Yes.
Which is a new line,
yeah,
which I'm kind of vibing with because you know what this game is. I brought up the word trap game yesterday and, we kind of hit that. But it's an interesting game because you're coming off a bye. Now, I like to judge coaches about how your team plays when you come out of a bye week. And we know Nebraska has lost 7 of their last 9 when they've come out of bye week, but it's the rare time that they went into the bye week with a victory.
Yep.
Do I expect Nebraska to play their best game of the season tomorrow? No. And I don't even know what the best game would look like with the current setup with Nebraska with defense compared to offense. But there's a couple of things I do expect tomorrow. I expect Nebraska to play with energy. I expect Nebraska to utilize new faces on offense, not necessarily new wrinkles, but utilize new faces. But I said yesterday that don't overthink this. This has the makings of 28-14. That would cover the spread. I think covering the spread tomorrow matters.
I do.
You can say, hey, Sharp, just be 1-0. Well, yeah, but at some point you have to go, okay, what do we see in here? Let's take a step forward.
Mm-hmm.
I think covering the spread tomorrow matters. And the spread right now on FanDuel is 11.5.
I think that if we're measuring progress, I know beggars can't be choosers when wins are hard to come by. So, yeah, obviously you're not going to get overly nitpicky about a win. But in the grand scheme of seeing this thing going in the right direction, despite the injuries, despite what this offense can and can't do, all of that, you throw all that on the table, that if you're able to go into the bye week on a high note, one day earlier than most go into the bye week because you had the Friday game, you're able to have the type of practices that we're hearing. And I know people here don't like to hear about the success rate of certain practices. I get that. I also think that this coaching staff is very much aware of that, and I think they feel good about what they were able to accomplish this week. If all that's true, and if you've had a chance to do a little self-scouting, self-evaluating, there are a couple of things that I think can look pretty clean tomorrow. And one of those things, we talk about some pre-snap penalties. How prepared does this team look? How disciplined does this team look? Because that was the kind of the thing that Matt Rule was even talking about in saying that they wanted to be like Northwestern from that standpoint. And I think that would go a long way in seeing this team utilizing the bye week and getting the most out of that extra preparation and coming out. So if they do that, if they're able to clean those things up like that, given this matchup, I think you should expect them to cover. I know that sounds crazy. I get with the history of this program. We're not looking at the history of this program right now. This is a first-year staff with, yes, some guys that were part of that history. But this is a first-year staff. This is a great opportunity to not only say, hey, look, we're above 500 right now if you're the coaching staff to the public, but also, did you see how prepared and how disciplined and how sound these guys were? Because we know for 4 quarters, it's not going to be pretty. It's not going to be 2021 Nebraska Northwestern. There are going to be some issues. But are you overcoming those to the tune that when you get to the 4th quarter, say you get to the 8-minute mark, that this thing is over? It's a 2-score game. And you don't have to worry. You don't have that anxiety there down the stretch as we typically see in a Nebraska Northwestern game.
Yeah,
so I do think it matters.
People say, well, it's not about the scoreboard. I think Rule might even said that yesterday or kind of along those lines. Yeah, tomorrow to me is a little bit about the scoreboard, okay? I don't want to trudge week to week. I get they've got challenges, and the challenge the next 3 weeks is you got 2 straight teams that will be coming off a bye, and then the third of the stretch is at the Quitters and at Michigan State. And that's a road game.
This is the most winnable game left on Nebraska's schedule, and you've had 2 weeks to prepare for it. Is kind of how I look at it.
So it's about the scoreboard. Now, I think the turnovers and penalties are something that is always a pushback when I say, hey, why can't they cover tomorrow? This is the curious part of the second half of the season with the offense. Now, I'm not going to get caught up in Satterfield and what are they doing, and all of a sudden it's going to look entirely different. Now, there are different parts that I think they need to utilize. We'll get into that a little bit later when it comes to a particular freshman wide receiver. But just like I said against Illinois, and I'm not going to use the analogy because we're out in public, is they got to start fast. I know the 4th quarter is a big deal, but Nebraska started fast against Illinois, and then the 4th quarter was it was like the car started. It was like the first time you're driving a clutch and you learn to drive in a clutch. Okay, next thing you know, the clutch is smelling, and you're like, oh, my God. Okay, Nebraska was starting to smell.
I just need to get home.
But Illinois had no way to contain the smell.
Right.
So I want to see Nebraska start
close enough to home.
I want to see Nebraska start fast tomorrow. But I am curious about something when it comes to turnovers and penalties. Is if Nebraska would go tempo, would that solve some of the turnovers and penalties? Because I think going slower at their pace does contribute a little bit to that. We didn't see it against Illinois, except for just a brief little bit.
Mm-hmm.
Man, I would like to see Nebraska dabble a little up-tempo with this offense, not just at the end of the first half, but periodically throughout the game to see what kind of an effect it would have on that offensive line and the rest of that offense, and most importantly, the guy that's the trigger man.
And this is going to be a total I've never played offensive line or know more than I should about it take. But just that theory on surface, I would think would make a lot of sense. Meaning, when I think of offensive lines that are struggling, when you have certain members pulling their weight and others not, that I think, okay, well, what's the best way to kind of get everyone on the same page? And we'll talk to Verz later on too, but he's mentioned it too. It's, you got to kind of look at these guys as more of a cohesive unit. You can't look at necessarily, well, Bryce Benhart has been okay out of the gate, but maybe not as much as of late. But Nuri Nuili is playing better. Ethan Piper's had some moments, but has also had some issues. Turner, everybody knows how it goes. But how is this group as a cohesive unit? And that's how you're judging them on, is as a unit. Like, is one guy's missed assignment picked up because another guy is able to, bust his ass and be able to, account for that as well. Not only doing his own job, but able to pick up his brother. I would think if you are an offensive line that is put in a situation you can get in a rhythm a lot quicker, I would think obviously that would benefit the entire unit. How do you do that? I would think having some type of tempo, some type of pace of play where you are able to kind of find that rhythm. Something works, and all of a sudden, boom, you're right back up to the line of scrimmage, and you're getting right back to it. I feel like less is more when it comes to in between the years. The less you have to think, quicker you get up there, it just comes natural to you. That maybe gives you a good opportunity to get into that rhythm as an offensive line. Again, that's a total, I'm not an offensive line expert take, but as someone who would think, hey, rhythm's important for the offensive line, how best do you get that group and that cohesion going forward? I would think a little bit more tempo, at least to have its place.
I would love to see up tempo early in the game, and then rely on, because I think you'll be able to do this, is wear down Northwestern in the fourth quarter, and you're able to cover that spread. Covering the spread matters to me tomorrow. I'm
100%
at some point, you have to go, okay, I see some strides here.
Yeah.
Regardless if you have Tom, Dick, and Harry are now your skill guys, when you thought it would be Alexander and Bobby and Steve.
Right.
Okay. you have to take a step forward to go, okay, I see what we got cooking, and especially out of a bye week.
Well, let me ask you this. Is 24-10, in your opinion, considered a blowout?
No, it's considered covering.
But that's a cover.
But
that's a cover.
I don't know how many Power 5 defenses Nebraska is going to score 4 or more touchdowns. So I would take 3 touchdowns and an Alvano field goal.
Sure.
Well, here's the flip side of that. Raise your hand. Everybody in here, you're listening. Would you be disappointed if Nebraska gave up more than 2 touchdowns tomorrow? Kim, would you? Yes.
Yep. See, even
Okay.
Kim says yes.
All right.
They say yes.
That was an emphatic yes, too.
Yep.
Kim.
Yep.
Okay, your reaction if Nebraska gave up more than 2 touchdowns tomorrow would be like, ooh.
Yeah.
Now, I'll give it a caveat if one is a garbage touchdown at the end of the game.
Yeah.
But to me, covering matters tomorrow. Don't run away from it. Embrace it. And 24-10 might not be, a Van Gogh, but it's a victory, and it covers the spread and maybe makes some people some money. And at 7:00 tomorrow night, make some people happy as they walk into the Volleyball Palace.
The reason I asked you is 24-10 considered a blowout is because I had the exact same conversation
with your wife.
Nope. With a buddy of mine who's an Iowa fan. He goes,
"Why would you have a conversation with an Iowa fan?
We're still friends. I know, even during this time of the year. But
hi, Iowa JD.
it wasn't JD. But I said that Nebraska. This is a game that you have to look the part. Is the way that I kind of described it to him. And then he laughed at me. He said, "You guys are never blown out anybody ever." And I just said, "Well, I'm not saying blowout. I'm saying," because I kept coming back to the score. Full disclosure, my score is 24-9, by the way. But I said, "Okay, would you consider 24-10 a blowout?" He said, "No." I said, "Well, that's covering." And I'm not asking for a blowout. So when you say like cover, don't get that twisted with like 20, we're expecting like a 35-7 route. Like that's a blowout.
A 24-10 would be a good Big Ten West blowout.
Yeah. Okay. From a Big Ten West standpoint, oh hell yeah. I mean, 2-score victory in the Big Ten West, that's a blowout.
Throughout the morning here, as you can either stop in, we'll find a live mic for you if you want to come up here and converse with the show. But it is the 100th anniversary celebration tomorrow of Memorial Stadium. They have a lot of stuff going on. It's a special place to so many people that have had so many memories. Maybe you got married at midfield. Maybe you dropped the ashes of somebody on the field, which I have doubled down and been told, yes, it's illegal and you can get a ticket for doing that.
Quality trough time.
You've gone to the games as a youngster with your grandparents or your parents, and now you're bringing your kids or your grandkids to the game. So Memorial Stadium has a place in everybody's hearts. Like I think you run into almost everybody, and they've got something about Memorial Stadium. Even if they're not a football fan, I went to Garth Brooks. I saw Willie Nelson at Farm Aid. Okay? So throughout the morning, best moments at Memorial Stadium. It can be a game, a moment, a player, or an incident. Maybe you got into, maybe you met a significant other at the game. You all of a sudden, you met him, and you're like, let's go to the Union. You left at halftime, never came back.
Or maybe it was one of the worst dates you've ever had that stayed with you for the rest of your life.
Or you were traumatized by, as a youngster, when you walked up to the trough and you realized that as a youngster, you walk up to the trough, and the trough is a little bit higher of where your equipment is.
That's intimidating.
Yeah, you don't know what to do.
Yeah, that's bad parenting.
And then you drop your pants, and the little boy is standing there with his pants down, and he doesn't know what to do.
Yeah.
Dad's like, GBR.
Yeah, I'm washing my hands. We got to get out of here. Come on.
John writes into the Equitable Bank inbox, 8 days, best and worst moment ever in Memorial Stadium. brace yourself because he's absolutely right. 1978, Nebraska upsets Oklahoma. That OU team in 78, many do, John, feel that was one of the better teams in college football. OU couldn't hold on to the football, lost 7 of them. Billy Sims on the 4-yard line with a couple of minutes to go. So that was an incredible game. Then, which is very typical nowadays, Nebraska, 1 week later, Mizzou rolls in. Yeah. Nebraska's a huge favorite. Rick Burns goes 80 for the first score. Mike Babcock is like, this game is over, over. And then James Wilder shows up and Mizzou beats Nebraska. And then you know the rest of the story. Nebraska got sent to the Orange Bowl, and they had to play Oklahoma again.
One step forward. See, at least that was 1 step forward, 1 step back. Nowadays, we've kind of seen the 1 step forward, 2 steps back. So, but that is, that would have been very, very appropriate to nowadays of Nebraska football.
And in that game, there's a lot of Nebraska-Oklahoma memories.
Yeah.
Not necessarily for the good, but the John Root hit on Kelly Phelps is one of the greatest plays in the history of Memorial Stadium, in my opinion.
I still have, and it kind of sucks because there are actually 2 losses that stay in my head from being present at a game as just a fan, and that is the Colorado comeback in the drizzly evening of Memorial Stadium where Nebraska was up 12-0. And then I've talked about this before.
90.
Yep, the 1991. And then 07, USC. Because of, I know a lot of people have made reference to, especially like maybe younger fans, they'll point to 2016 Oregon, Nebraska, 2014 Miami, Nebraska, Michigan 21, where that stadium was just alive. I still have never seen a crowd more electric leading up to kickoff in the games that I've been there as a fan, more so than the 07 Nebraska USC game. That was where you could actually feel shaking in the stands, where you could actually, like, as they kind of always say, where sound actually has feel. Yeah. 07 Nebraska USC, as far as build up to kickoff, right before kickoff, amazing. Yeah. I still have, I don't know if I'll ever see anything top that. Anybody who was at that game, I feel like you probably know what I'm talking about.
Isn't Black 41 flash reverse pass? It has to be top 5 all-time moment in Memorial Stadium.
Oh, yeah,
correct?
Absolutely.
Not even a conversation?
No.
I don't even know how it wouldn't. Yeah. And thanks to you, all I think of is that John Bishop split his pants when that happened.
Eric Crouch is running right by John Bishop, and John Bishop is standing next to me, and Bishop jumps up and down, and Crouch goes into the end zone. So they celebrate. They get ready for the kickoff, and Bishop looked at me, and he goes, I just split my pants open. Some remember Mike Stuntz, Thunder Collins, Eric Crouch.
So
some remember that all of a sudden, John Bishop for the 01 Nebraska-Oklahoma game was Mr. Freebird.
I want to know, like, what was the leg motion that Bishop had to where he was so excited that he split his pants? Was he doing like a Russian?
Jordan? No,
or was he high-kneeing it?
I can't remember.
Okay.
I just know that, like, there are moments. Here's the other thing about being a fan when there are big moments. Why do people feel like they should punch you in the arm?
Or a big slap on the back?
Yeah. There's a big play happening, and all of a sudden that person chooses violence, like fun violence. Man, look at that play. Bam! Nails you on the shoulder. You wake up the next morning, got this gigantic bruise, and you go, did I play the game?
Yeah. What the hell?
I think he, like, slapped me on the shoulder, and, the whole place is going nuts.
I wish someone had that on camera of what Bishop actually did to split his pants.
So we have looked at it. This was many, many years ago. We've like Zapruder the film on the ABC broadcast. As they're going by, you can see Bishop and I on the sidelines there.
Bishop
like
goes back.
Crouch is like at the 20-yard line. But okay, so definitely in the top 5. Is it the number 1 play all time in Memorial Stadium? Black 41 flash reverse pass.
For me, yes.
Now remember, the game also had huge implications.
Yeah.
I mean, that was monster Nebraska-Oklahoma. Hey, look it. We're back again.
2-1, yeah.
After going through a stretch of Gary Gibbs, John Blake, and Howard Schnellenberger and going, boy, what happened to Nebraska-Oklahoma?
Yeah, for me, it would be because that – now, I wasn't at that game. I wasn't actually there. But from us just an overall living in the moment
that game.
And how big that was, early game, Yeah. Oh yeah, totally. Like I can't think of, and there's moments after that smaller stakes compared to that one. Like, I mean, the Westerkamp Hail Mary, Amir against McNeese, like those are huge moments. But as far as the magnitude of those moments and what they meant compared to that, yeah, I don't even think it comes close. At least from my recollection of 44 years and of, I guess I would have been in my early 20s. So obviously I could comprehend the gravity of that situation. So yeah, for me, no, I think that's number one.
2008, the Nebraska-Colorado game. What was a bigger play in that game? This is a question in the Equitable Bank inbox. This is a great question. This should be our poll question Monday. Well, okay. So Alex Henry's 57-yard field goal in 08 against Colorado, or what happened shortly thereafter?
Yeah, the Ndamukong Suh stomp. Not stomp, I shouldn't say that, because he had one of those in the NFL, but trucking over Cody Hawkins on the interception, the pick six. I still think
Alex Henry field goal basically won the game.
I still think the field goal.
But the Suh moment was more, that's Colorado.
That was the exclamation point on that game.
Yeah, I'd say the field goal with Suh being just,
The underdog of that storyline was the weather that day. Remember, that was Black Friday. It was like 72 degrees out. It was gorgeous. Just throw that in there, too.
Thanks, Al.
Yeah, just throwing that in there. It was amazing.
Nick will be back with the 10-day right after this.
Hour in the books. Brett Seancy from Pick Six Previews coming up in the next hour. A good slate of college football all of the windows have really, really good games coming up tomorrow as we reach week number 8. Brett will stop by at 7:30. Lee Sterling is in at 7:50, and we'll have more on Nebraska and Northwestern tomorrow at Memorial Stadium. This bat-blank crazy rivalry. Will Nebraska stop the losing streak against Northwestern and say, thank you, David Braun, for playing? Next year, we can't wait to go up against Dave Clawson and Willie Fritz running Northwestern football. It's Mornings with Sharp and Handley. With Jimmy here as well. We are live from Hy-Vee, 132nd and Dodge, the Linden Street Market on a Fritter Friday. We're going to carve pumpkins. We're going to give you footballs, and I will hand out 4 roses. Has nothing to do with any reality show. But you guys saw this, or at least I helped myself to this.
Yeah, you did.
We have an arrangement here.
Yeah, there's
so
if you
would like a boutonniere, wait a minute, they're all together.
That'd be
we can get some scissors.
Okay.
Talk about a boutonniere. That'd be amazing. Get all 4 of them together.
Kim, earmuffs. We'll give you a rose. I think this belongs to Hy-Vee, but today it belongs to us. The roses. All right, thank you. Oh, she's great.
Does anybody still have homecoming? We could help out. We could help out somebody with homecoming
in general, or this week.
Yeah, you want to go to homecoming? You're getting married this weekend? I got the floral arrangement for you right here, and I will carve a pumpkin.
Yeah, it's the head table centerpiece.
Or we'll play catch with the pumpkin.
Oh, that's a guy. Yeah.
There we go. It's already happening.
We're 1 for 1. Well, look at that, Kim. If that would have fell, I know I would have been bad. It's Mornings with Sharp and Handley on 1620 The Zone.
Mornings with Sharp and Handley on 1620 The Zone and 1620thezone.com. Live from the Host Coffee Studio, this is 1620 The Zone.
Equitable Bank. We take banking personally. EquitableOnline.com.
1620 The Zone. Traffic.
From the Zoom Drain Time-Saving Traffic Center. We have no accidents to report at this time, but you can expect a little bit of slowdown from 94th to 90th along Dodge. Then on L Street, there's going to be a bit of a delay near 102nd. And other than that, it looks like your commute this morning should be pretty smooth, even if you're running a bit late. As always, remember to stay safe and wear your seatbelts. I'm Chris Scott. This time-saving traffic was brought to you by Les Hills Harley-Davidson.
It doesn't matter if you live in Iowa, Nebraska, 10 miles away, or 200. There's only one place to go for all your Harley-Davidson parts and service, general merchandise, new and used motorcycles. Les Hills Harley-Davidson. Rise up and ride on.
Follow your imagination to the Bellevue Berry and Pumpkin Ranch. Bring the whole gang and explore for treasure on the pirate shipwreck. See how the West was fun. Pretend you're a superhero as you jump on giant bounce pads. Maybe reserve your own campfire rental where you can roast marshmallows and tell stories. It's all up to you. And of course, go on a hayride and grab your own pumpkin. Priced by the size, not the pound. Follow your imagination at the Bellevue Berry and Pumpkin Ranch. 48th between Cornhusker and Highway 370. More info at BellevueBerryFarm.com.
Wesley Financial Group is not a law firm.
This story is called The Ugly Truth About Timeshare. If you think you've done your family a favor by buying a timeshare, you need my help. Hello, I'm Chuck McDowell, CEO and founder of Wesley Financial Group. 10 years ago, I started helping folks cancel their timeshare. And in the process, started what's now called the timeshare cancellation industry. Timeshare is the only thing that you can buy that you can't tell me how much it's going to cost or when it's going to end. When you buy a timeshare, you give them a blank check to fill out any amount they want for annual maintenance and assessment fees. The crazy thing is, this never ends. Even when you die, your family's now going to be stuck with this burden. Stop the insanity today. Call my office now. If we take you as a client, I guarantee we'll cancel your timeshare or you'll pay nothing.
Call for your free information kit. 800-462-3333. That's 800-462-3333. 800-462-3333.
The brand new Dollar General Distribution Center in Blair is now hiring. Starting wage is up to $22 per hour with benefits including medical, dental, vision, 401k, and a $2,000 sign-on bonus. Apply today by texting DG Warehouse to 25000 or online at dollargeneral.com/careers. Again, apply today by texting DG Warehouse to 25000 or online at dollargeneral.com/careers. Dollar General can't wait to have you become a team member at their brand new distribution center.
Here's today's Husker Max Practice Report, brought to you by Tickets for Less on 1180 and 1620 The Zone.
Husker football head coach Matt Rule said that Malachi Coleman, Jaden Doss, and Jalen Lloyd are ready to make an impact against Northwestern.
Great week of practice. Great, really 2 weeks. And well, they're ready to go. I mean, there's. I know this. I mean, they might be young, right? But they're as fast as any group of receivers in the country. So not very often you have 10-3, 10-4 guys out there.
Rule said he wants his team to play with the same grit the Wildcats play with.
I want our team to be just like Northwestern team is. Like, I want us fighting every week for each other and for what we want, not for the things that come with winning, but to win and be a good football team. So you need to play teams like Northwestern that are doing the same thing because it's a barometer in your soul of, hey, how tough are we?
For The Zone, I'm Matt McMaster.
The Husker Max Practice Report, brought to you by Tickets for Less on 1180 and 1620 The Zone.
Attention all Nebraska Huskers football fans. Get ready for an electrifying season of college football with Tickets for Less. Experience the thrill of the game and witness the power of a new era under our exciting new head coach. And here's the best part. Use promo code THEZONE to score incredible savings on your Husker tickets from Tickets for Less. Whether you're cheering from the stands at Memorial or plan to catch a game on the road, Tickets for Less has the seats you need. Don't miss out on this opportunity to be part of the Huskers journey. Visit ticketsforless.com and use promo code THEZONE today.
Hey everyone, Josh and John here for the FanDuel Sportsbook. Another week of football will be here, and there is a huge matchup, John, between the Dolphins and the Eagles. This one taking place in Philadelphia, perhaps a Super Bowl preview. And right now, new customers can get $200 in bonus bets guaranteed. That means $200 in bonus bets, win or lose, John. All they got to do is go to FanDuel.com/1620, bet on this game or another one in Week 7 of the NFL.
And with FanDuel, you can also take a look at some alternate lines. In other words, if you're really confident that someone's going to have a big day passing, you can actually bump up the total for that individual player. And right now, new customers, $200 in bonus bets guaranteed when you place that first $5 bet. FanDuel.com/1620. 21 plus in President Iowa. First online real money wager only. $10 first deposit required. Bonus issued as non-withdrawable bonus bets that expire 7 days after receipt. Restrictions apply. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-BETS-OFF.
PACE, Police Athletics for Community Engagement Organization, is dedicated to preventing at-risk and disadvantaged inner-city children from becoming involved in street gangs, crime, drug use, and victimization.
Flag football for ages 8 to 14 runs through October 20th, and PACE needs sponsors to help pay for refs, jerseys, and other equipment. Go to paceomaha.org to help. And thank you for your support from PACE.
Please go to paceomaha.org to support the PACE mission. Thank you.
Let it fly. Your elevated sports bar experience. KOZ and Bellevue, Omaha, Council Bluffs. This is 1620 The Zone. Now back to mornings with Sharp and Handley on 1620 The Zone.
Mornings with Sharp and Handley, live from the Linden Market HyVee, 132nd and Dodge. Come out and see us. Come hang out. Come get a pumpkin and a rose from Gary. Here are some headlines. Thursday night football last night. Jaguars beat the Saints 31-24. I forgot all about that game because watching baseball, the Astros even things up with the Rangers, winning 10-3. They'll play Game 5 this afternoon in Arlington. Justin Verlander is going to start for the Astros as they try to go up 3-2 and find a way to win just one home game. And then last night, congratulations to the Fighting Snakes of Arizona. They've decided to participate in this year's NLCS. They won Game 3 and a walk-off 2-1. They'll try Game 4 tonight in Phoenix. And the big volleyball match tomorrow is Nebraska and Wisconsin. 1 versus 2, game match of the century, whatever you want to call it. That's, it's a volleyball state, so everybody is talking about that. And one of the things that we're talking about is our poll that you can get on, we have it on our Twitter feed, we have it on the website.
What are we doing?
Yeah, so you can vote. So if you were given tickets free, obviously tomorrow,
gosh, what is this thing?
you could go to the football game and sit wherever you want. You can be in a suite, whatever floats your boat, or you get front row tickets to the volleyball match. Which one would you pick? So you can go vote there on the website and see.
What are the results right now for this thing?
Yeah, can we actually check in live?
Because if you are choosing football over front row seats to 1 versus 2 in volleyball,
you think it'd be that one-sided? If someone said, "Here, you get a suite,"
can you drink in the suite?
Of course. These are the rules.
What is this poll thing? You're going to have to explain this to people. You got to go to our website.
This isn't your normal Twitter poll. This is actually our website.
Yeah,
poll.
it's our website. It's
you
not
win
a Twitter
anything?
Poll. Not yet, but we'll see if we start getting to that as we go. We're trying this out. We're starting it. We'll see if it takes. I don't know if it will or not, but yeah.
Is this the whole Josh Odson conversation about, hey,
Yes.
you can
Did
have
you
a
know-
poll on the website?
Did you know,
Yes.
Josh Hodson, producer of the Conor Happer Show, that you can do a poll about any poll about
Wow.
anything?
All right. Well,
I'm sure Josh
anything
Hodson,
you want to keep.
Josh
cool, Tom.
Hodson spent 78 minutes of his Monday getting educated like you have never seen before.
All right. So now where do we find this aforementioned poll there, Jimmy?
Well, I'm going to retweet it again
On the Twitter?
from our deal. Yep. Yeah, that's right, Peterman.
Also, I am here to say that caller Chris is here. He's on the line.
All right.
Chris.
Has he calmed down? You said Chris was upset.
Yeah, I screwed the pooch on that one. He's back.
right.
But I'm ready. He's ready to talk.
Is he still upset?
At 7:09 on Mornings with Sharp and Handley, Peter is screwing the pooch.
You never know what you're going to get on a Friday.
One quick thing on last night on the game. So I got home from Westside Northeast, and I saw that the Saints were coming back.
Yeah.
Nice that their offense showed up in the fourth quarter. But the Christian Kirk touchdown, man, I love me some Al Michaels. His call on that was brutal.
Like the playoff game.
The technical crew and Michaels were not on the same page. They were not even close. And I know the press box at the Superdome is miles away from the field. That was not good last night.
It was Gumbel-esque.
Yeah.
Delay. Well, kind of Gus
I thought you
Johnson.
said gumbo at first. I was like, I know it's New Orleans, but
Hey, embrace the fact that we are still on pace to possibly have a Detroit-Jacksonville Super Bowl.
Just with the NFL's wanting. That's what we all want. Detroit,
3 games in 18
Yeah.
days, too. How about them?
All right. We are at, as Jimmy alluded to, Hy-Vee, 132nd and Dodge. Brett Ciancia, bottom of the hour. But first, here on the 42-degree The Source hotline is Chris. Chris, thanks for your patience this morning. The floor is yours.
Thank you, Gary. Good morning, everybody. I appreciate the acknowledgement of me being upset. I was a little upset. I felt like a local Husker player who's probably the best player in the state, and he doesn't get a scholarship offer from Nebraska. And so I don't have a meat in the game when it comes to kids in high school, so I don't follow local high school that well, but I do know there's a couple good linemen down in Papillion that probably should get an offer. But I wanted to talk about local talent and maybe get your guys' opinion on it. Okay. You probably know more than me about it. When it comes to the West Side team, I think in 82 there's like 11 D1 scholarship players off that team, just to perspective on it. But if we can't get the best, and I've said this before, if we can't get the best talent in this state and give them a scholarship, whether they're going to come or not, then what makes us think we're going to go get better talent outside the state? And from what I've seen on talent around here, I don't see a lot of kids around here committing a lot of dumb penalties and so forth, to where it's like, how come the kids around here who are the best talent in this state, how come they don't get scholarship offers from Nebraska?
Well, I think you'd have to go as far as looking at each position. I think everything is going to be kind of unique to the position first that Nebraska's recruiting, and then to that individual secondly. I think that when you are in a position where Nebraska is trying to build from within and move their blueprint out, I think the evaluation of each and every kid is been maybe a little bit prioritized differently by certain coaching staffs. And for example, it was kind of inconsistent a little bit, I guess you could say, with Scott Frost's staff, with Mike Riley's staff. With Matt Rule's staff, you know that has been talked about as a priority of, if you can play football at the Division I level and you are in the state of Nebraska, you're at least going to hear from them. And then where it goes beyond that comes down to, again, I think how they're recruiting the position, where they see them at that position. And then, as we know with the Matt Rule coaching staff, can they cross-train them? And so I think we're seeing the early stages of that right now. I'm sorry, go ahead.
Where I have a problem with that is that we don't have any positions that need to be looked at. Like, supposedly we have some really good players in this state. So to me, it doesn't matter who's at the position now down in Nebraska playing football. It's next man up. If I got kids in this state that I can offer a scholarship to, and NLI money is just out the door, it's got to be in this state. There's so much money flowing around that why it still doesn't make sense on we're not getting these best kids in the state down to play football at Nebraska. Because the golden era when I grew up was in 90s or early 90s, mid 90s. We had a whole bunch of kids from this state playing down in Nebraska. And they're probably the best kids in the state, with the exception of with a couple. And it probably was the same way in the 80s too, early 80s. So I think we're missing that. If we really want to do it, quote, the right way, I think we're missing that. And I'll let you guys go. I want to give them Rule a compliment here real quick, because I'm a Prime fan. I think Rule's doing a better coaching job than Prime is at Colorado. So, I mean, I'm not don't think this is the wrong guy or anything. I could think this guy might be able to do it. But I think he needs to do it by getting the best talent in the state to go play football in Nebraska. You guys have a good morning.
Chris, thank you. And they are in this recruiting class.
The
best players in the state are committed to Nebraska, and you're waiting on the best player in the state, and Caleb Benning, to make his decision. And Nebraska has done everything to put themselves in a good spot. I am not under the full belief that every football player that looks good deserves a scholarship in Nebraska. They deserve an evaluation. And as something you alluded to, Nick, in the past, staffs have not done good evaluations on in-state products. This staff has done a better job of looking earlier and evaluating in-state products to make a decision if they're going to offer a scholarship or not. Anthony Rezac is one of those guys that I would want in my football program because the kid wins. He's not going to be a problem. He's going to work his butt off. You know what? He's going to be more of an asset than a detriment. And you find a place for somebody like that to be in your program and then let him figure it out how he gets onto the field. That relationship got sideways. It's not going to happen. They're not going to offer him a scholarship. Anthony will have other opportunities, and we will all go, why just preferred walk-on opportunities? But Nebraska in-state recruiting is a lot better because they start with a better evaluation, and earlier on in-state, they're working in and moving out. Where in the past, I thought there were staffs, and it's not just a Scott Frost thing. It's going back a couple of staffs that like to work out and then work into the state because they thought, you know what, we're Nebraska.
Right, exactly.
And the kid will come here. You know what? The talent in the state of Nebraska, and it's not just an Omaha thing, Lincoln, wherever. I mean, look at There's one of the top players in the country from Ainsworth, Nebraska. The high school football talent in this state is really, really good. Okay. And a lot of people like it because they go, you know what? Nebraska can't get everybody. Not everybody wants to stay and play for Nebraska. You grew up. Kids nowadays, they grew up. They don't know about Nebraska's glory days. Okay. When Notre Dame comes in and they're recruiting you, and Notre Dame can show you, hey, you know what? We're Notre Dame. And then roll out what Notre Dame is. And Nebraska goes, well, we would like you to stay in state. Well, there's a lot of things that go into that. Not every kid wants to stay here. But I will tell you this, how things have changed with Nebraska recruiting in-state. They evaluate players earlier that are in-state to make a decision on if they can see them as a fit in their program. And if they do, they don't hesitate. They don't go around the room. They go, Clint, do you think that kid deserves a scholarship? Somebody steps up and says, you know what? That kid deserves a scholarship. And they go, he's an in-state kid. We like it. Let's go. Okay, they offer him a scholarship. So their evaluation is a lot better. And you know what? Their plan on what they tell in-state kids is better. This is where Scott erred when they let some key players go. Some they just completely ignored because they wouldn't go see them in person, or they just had misevaluation on. It was, hey, help us run this back. We want you to be part of this. The approach in-state with this staff is completely different, and it's resonating more. So to Chris's point, yeah, we'd love to have a bunch of in-state kids, but not every kid in-state that is good deserves a scholarship. This staff has done a lot better job of looking at in-state talent, then deciding. The one guy in this entire senior class in the state, and I think I watch a lot of high school football in person, I'm a more in-person guy than I'm on film, is Anthony. Outside of that, guys that I think are worthy of a Nebraska scholarship to play in the Big Ten have been offered a scholarship. Not all of them accepted, but you know what? Nebraska's in-state class for 24 is pretty damn good.
It is, and that's what I would have said of, other than Anthony Rezac, as far as just players in the state that are balling out. Who have they, at the very least, who have they not gone all in on, to the tune that they've actually got the commitment right away? And so the Anthony Rezac thing, and I said it earlier, there's that trait that I think sometimes doesn't always show up when it comes to the full evaluation, but I think it actually has its place, and that's being a winner. The other thing that I think about it when you get guys like that is if there is a ceiling to be had, those guys are going to reach that ceiling. They're going to get to that level because of the way that they go about their day-to-day, and that's all fine and good. But that is the issue that I always had with previous staffs. And you're right. This was actually a big Mike Riley thing too. There was this belief that when the homeschool comes calling, you're going to be there. And in fact, I can use Harrison Phillips as an example for when under Bo Pelini, when Bo was in Nebraska. Harrison Phillips always had, and he'll to this day he'll tell you. Told me on a couple occasions when we had him on the radio. He's told a lot of people that Nebraska was always going to be a place that he would strongly consider, but they were extremely late, and there was a belief that in the two-gap scheme that maybe Harrison Phillips wouldn't be a great fit. And that was, in my opinion, a misevaluation. There was Drew Ott from Howells was another guy, a defensive lineman that got away to Iowa.
Yeah, I think we need to stop this. I think we're and I'm sorry, I started it with this little response to Chris's call. We can't do this revisionist history. Okay, that's in the past.
Sure.
Okay, that Nebraska that looks bad. Cole Payton, Zane Flores, that all looks bad. We got to move this conversation along.
Well, yeah, but my point of this is there was this belief of always thinking that we've got some other guys we got to prioritize that are outside the radius, the 500-mile radius. When we got to eventually get back to some of these guys, and we will. But you know what? We're Nebraska. They're Nebraska kids. There's going to be that automatic connection right there. And what we've learned is, and it's exactly to your point, I've said this many times too, it's a lot tougher of a sell going to Nebraska now in 2023 than it was in 1993. It just is, because you're looking for the IT program. The IT program right now is not Nebraska, so you've got to do other things to get those players excited. You can't, for example, use you're going to be a part of that next great era of Nebraska football. Okay, but what are you also going to do for that individual? What if they have goals of getting to the NFL? Do you have the track record to also throw out that individual plan? That's another thing I like about the staff too, is everything you hear about the recruiting pitch, they seem to have a detailed plan of how that player can fit into their program, as opposed to just, hey, you could be a part of something special. So and that again goes back to the evaluation process of being evaluated, but taking that evaluation, saying, here's how we're mapping out a spot for you. This is what this will look like, as opposed to you can be a part of a really good class that can maybe put themselves in the mix to win a Big Ten title. okay, what else can you do for me?
Yep. All right. Brett Ciancia is going to join us here in a little bit. We'll get his thoughts on the weekend. We also, speaking of recruiting the class of 23, Malachi Coleman. We didn't put him on our most important 3 yesterday. And after the show, I thought about it, and I was like, you know what? Malachi Coleman has an interesting 6-game stretch here of he's now available to play. He has played extensively. First 4 games, 18 snaps, 57 snaps against Illinois, caught his first catch. He got dirty. He was blocking.
Mm-hmm.
I wouldn't be surprised, a bold prediction, Malachi Coleman is dancing in the end zone tomorrow, but he has to, because there is a point where I can't be thinking in my head, man, is that Xavier Betts 2.0? Mm-hmm. Because they invested too much into the process to get Malachi, and it's too good of a story to just be, he's just one of those guys.
Yeah.
The next 6 games, I think, are pretty important for Malachi Coleman, for him to develop and finally to be able to show off, either for the good or the bad, what kind of a wide receiver he can be at the Division I level. Because Nebraska needs a contribution out of him to finish this year and moving forward. They invested too much into him for him not to start to have the return on investment.
Yeah, and I think the Illinois game where you come in those circumstances and then now you know you're the guy going forward. There's no, okay, if I don't perform well, then they're going to continue to kind of go down the pecking order of the wide receivers. I mean, it's kind of that situation that you see with the running backs as well. You're the guy. So how do you take knowing that without the pressures of necessarily getting pulled out? And this is where we start to see a little bit of that development. I know a lot of people talk about, your freshman year to your sophomore year, your redshirt freshman year to your sophomore year, whatever it is, when you actually get some playing time is where you're going to see a lot of that improvement. But this is now, again, going back to the self-scouting and the evaluation during the bye week of how you can utilize all these guys and how it's now, as Matt Rule said yesterday, the freshmen, it's their time. Because one of my bold predictions, because I'm kind of in your line of thinking right there too, is I got Malachi Coleman and Jalen Lloyd combining for 4 catches and 40-plus yards. I didn't necessarily put a touchdown next to it. But I know that seems modest as far as, 4 catches, between the 2, 4 catches, 40 yards. Yeah, think about this offense, though.
Baby steps.
Exactly. Think about just getting them involved one way or another. Hell, it could be Malachi getting 4 catches for 40 yards. It could be Malachi getting 2, Jalen Lloyd getting 2, 3 and 1. I don't know what it's going to be, but it kind of underscores the importance of these freshman wide receivers, not to just be out on the field, but to actually have some type of contribution there other than blocking.
There's Nick, Jimmy here as well. All of you, good crowd, rolling in here to Hy-Vee at 132nd and Dodge, the Linden Street Market. We're here until 10. We have lots of giveaways. They have the breakfast buffet going on, and, of course, everything that goes with the atmosphere when we are here. Brett Ciancia on week 8 of the college football season. For Big Six previews, he's coming up next on 1620 The Zone.
Gary Sharp, Nick Handley, and Jimmy Chavez. Mornings with Sharp and Handley. Weekdays 6 to 10 on 1620 The Zone and 1620thezone.com. Mornings on 1620 The Zone is brought to you by MD West One Orthopedics, Neurosurgery, and Spine. Previously on The Crossover.
Now the question is, who's beating them?
They play the Eagles in Philly.
See, I think the Eagles could win. It's not going to be the game you expect. They'll lose to the
Well,
Vikings
this week they play the Browns and the weather's supposed to be back. Like, how funny would it be last week we were like, the Bills are back, and then the Bills lost. Yeah. Well, Niners are the best team ever, and then they lose 10-6.
Oh, that was such a classic Bills.
Mornings with Sharp and Handley, the Conor Happer Show, unsportsmanlike conduct, 6A to 6P, 1620, The Zone. Your Omaha area forecast, presented by Bellevue Berry and Pumpkin Ranch, from the KETV Newswatch 7 Weather Center on 1620 The Zone.
Bright, warm, and a bit breezy for your Friday with a high in Omaha today of 80 degrees, southwesterly winds up to 15 miles an hour. Expect very high fire danger into the afternoon. Clearing cool tonight, a low near 50 with winds out of the northwest up to 15 miles an hour. Staying mild and bright as we head into the start of the weekend, a high on Saturday of 67. I'm meteorologist Caitlin Harvey with KETV Newswatch 7.
This hour is powered by Dollar General Distribution Center in Blair, Nebraska on 1620 The Zone. 1620 The Zone. Traffic.
From the Zoom Drain Time-Saving Traffic Center, we have one accident to report that has 2 left lanes blocked along Fort Crook Road at Chandler Road, so please be cautious if you're in that area. Along Industrial Road, be prepared for a major delay from 138th to 120th, and along Highway 370, be prepared for some significant slowdowns from 144th to the I-80 East and West ramps. As always, remember to stay safe and wear your seatbelts. I'm Chris Scott. This time-saving traffic is brought to you by Nanfito Heating and Cooling.
Don't get caught in the cold. Call Nanfito Heating and Cooling, your Rude Pro partner today. Now is the time to have Nanfito Heating and Cooling get your furnace in top shape. Nanfito services all brands of furnaces. Call today, 402-515-5050.
The cigar enthusiasts at Hearth Cigars and Pipes are a pretty diverse bunch of humans. Some enjoy an adult beverage or two, others pass the time with a competitive yet friendly game of dominoes. Still others enjoy shooting some pool downstairs, while more than a few are just satisfied with each other's company. The common thread with all of them is the awesomeness that is their favorite cigar from the humidor. Hearth Cigars and Pipes, just off the 48th Street exit from I-680 at the corner of Mormon Bridge Road in McKinley, and at hearthcigars.com.
It's Halloween at Genesis Health Clubs. Join with no enrollment fee, no contract, and save 31% per month every month. It may be the spookiest time of the year, but starting a new fitness routine doesn't have to be scary. Genesis Health Clubs has top-of-the-line equipment and the absolute best personal trainers, tennis professionals, and group fitness instructors to help keep you motivated and headed towards your fitness goals. Plus, relax in luxury afterwards with saunas, steam rooms, and fluffy towel service. Whatever your fitness needs, Genesis is here to help every step of the way, and there's nothing scary about that. This Halloween, join Genesis Health Clubs with no enrollment fee, no contract, and save 31% per month every single month. But hurry, this offer will end before you have a chance to count your Halloween candy. It ends on Halloween and won't extend. Come to Genesis and get in the best shape of your life so you can handle anything those zombies, werewolves, and vampires throw at you. Plus, get your New Year's resolutions checked off with time to spare. Join Genesis Health Clubs with no enrollment fee, no contract, and save 31% per month every single month.
Don't miss this week's Zone Deal.
This week's half-off deal is Cops. Receive 2 $25 gift vouchers for just $25. Cops makes delicious pizza, fresh salads, and tasty charred wings. For the basic menu, click copspizza.com. And for the extended menu, visit them at Shadow Lake Town Center, 180th and Center, and the newly reopened 72nd and Jones locations.
Zone deals go fast. 9 a.m. Friday, 1620thezone.com.
The 13th ranked Ohio State Buckeyes are coming to town to take on your undefeated and 22nd ranked Omaha Mavericks hockey team on October 27th and 28th at Baxter Arena. You do not want to miss this top 25 matchup. Get your tickets now by calling the box office at 402-554-MAVS or by going to omavs.com/ticks. And basketball season is upon us. Get your men's and women's season tickets by calling 402-554-MAVS.
Don't miss a moment this fall. Head over to KuglerVision.com right now. That's KuglerVision.com.
And we're back. Mornings with Sharp and Handley. Here's Gary, Nick, and Jimmy on 1620 The Zone.
Really, you should taste it. I'm so fancy.
All right, we are closing in on the first playoff rankings being released. There are a couple of games tomorrow that will have an impact on it, including a big one in the Big Ten East. Always a big one, always a good conversation, always our Friday friend on the Football Friday Fiesta from Pick Six Previews is Brett Ciancia. Good morning, Brett.
Hey, good morning, guys. Thanks for having me on.
Hey, let me, because you're, as people know, you live in Pennsylvania and you're on the Penn State side of the state. Is Penn State, Ohio State a rivalry from the Penn State perspective?
Oh, it absolutely is. And it's interesting when you see the Big Ten release their protected rivalries and not give Penn State any of them. It's a shame because Penn State, Ohio State, Penn State, Michigan, these fans out here, they view it as their rivals. I mean, it's really the two of the big three in the conference the last 10, 20, 50 years. I mean, Penn State's almost at that blue blood tier. And, it's been competitive too. Penn State has played Ohio State really tough. I know that most of the games go Ohio State's way, but if you watch these games, they're close at halftime, close into the fourth, and they have some magical moments in them. So, yeah, it's absolutely a rivalry. People out here can't stop talking about it. It's been on their calendars for a month. I've been hearing all about it, and I'm excited to see how they fare Saturday.
So we've talked about all week. James Franklin struggles against not only Ohio State, but Michigan. Ryan Day is 4-0 against him. Penn State has not been a favorite against Ohio State since 2009. They're a slight underdog, not big, going to the shoe. So if Penn State wins, and this is kind of leading into how you see this game unfolding, if Penn State wins, Brett, is that an upset?
I wouldn't view it as such. I think they're about even. Actually, my game grader formula has Penn State number 1 in the country so far. It's actually interesting that the Big Ten East has the top 3 in the country. The first time I've ever seen that in my numbers: Penn State, Michigan, Ohio State. So they're all pretty much even at the top there. I think Ohio State has the better resume based off their wins so far, just by virtue of the scheduling, with their win over Notre Dame and their blowout over Maryland. Penn State, though, has been more dominant, bigger margins in their wins, scoring differential, yardage. Their defense is incredible. I wouldn't view it as an upset, though. I mean, this is the year that it's supposed to be different when you talk to Penn Staters. It's finally this elite recruiting class that is, in their second and third years on campus. They have 5 stars at all the key offensive positions. The defense is one of their best ever. So they're viewing this as going in as peers into the game and a chance to really prove it on the national stage.
Gary brought this up yesterday, and you being, again, a little bit closer to the scene, I'm curious on what the reaction is. When you think of James Franklin his record against Ohio State and also Michigan combined, where you've only had the 1 win, how much does that get discussed when talking about the quality job that James Franklin has done at Penn State, and when we get into evaluating and maybe sometimes even being nitpicky, how much of a factor is his record against those two?
It's a huge talking point. It's one of the 2 major ones. There's talks about how great of a recruiter he is, and that's really his biggest positive. He continues to get top 10, top 15 classes, which might not sound incredible, but based on where we are in the country on the map, we're not in the deep South, we're not in Texas or California. So to land those consistently is impressive. He keeps the top talent from in-state in Pennsylvania, which is huge. He raids Virginia and the Delmarva area. So the recruiting is definitely a pro. But then whenever you hear any compliments given to him, it all comes back to, well, yeah, he hasn't beaten Ohio State or Michigan, though. So he still has that monkey on his back. The magical Big Ten title years they had, they did beat Ohio State. They blocked that 1 field goal, returned it for a touchdown. The place went crazy. I think it was 2016. But you need to add some more memories to that because I think some of the fans, as silly as it sounds, they're getting tired of 10-2 and 9-3. And especially when you have talent that is matching your peers. So, they want to see them break through. And this is probably their best chance in a while. And that's why there's so much optimism and so much buzz around it.
Speaking of talking points, when the pregame shows go on at 9 o'clock your time, 8 o'clock here, how much do you anticipate the revelation yesterday that the NCAA is investigating Michigan for the alleged rule of violation related to sign stealing? How much of that will be a discussion tomorrow, do you think, around college football?
Yeah, I think it'll be a big talking point, but I hope that people do their research on it and come with educated opinions. I'll be honest, I never even knew about this facet of the game. I mean, you hear of sign stealing or trying to figure out an opponent, but it's a fine line between that and just scouting, over-scouting. I mean, I remember back in high school, we'd scout everything we can. We'd go to scrimmages, we'd go to games, and I didn't think any of that was illegal, but here you have Michigan sending staffers or people affiliated with the program down to watch a team live. I don't see what's wrong with that. Now, if the intent is just studying the hand gestures of the assistant coach signaling in a play, maybe that flips over the fine line into cheating and stealing. So I don't know, but I just hope that the opinions aren't rushed on TV, which that's asking a lot, I know. And I hope that they're well read on the rules. And again, it's something I'm not familiar with, but it's going to be on national TV and condemning a whole program and a coach and staff. Better have the facts ready. So we'll see. I'm sure it's going to be a lot of hot takes.
Yeah, and being able to – this is the only thing I could think of, being able to send people out to games that you're going to – opponents that you're going to play in the future, whether they're on your schedule or potential college football playoff teams, and you're actually sending staffers out, allegedly. In your opinion, is this the reason this might be a problem in the NCAA? Is this kind of come to that whole parity, equality, why should a Power Five that have the resources that, a group of 5 doesn't have should be able to go ahead and do something like that? as opposed to maybe a group of 5 that can't budget for that extra travel for, a scout or a staffer to be able to do something like that. I mean, is that maybe the biggest issue that, in your opinion, the NCAA would have with that?
I don't think so, because I think you see that discrepancy in every other part of the game. I mean, recruiting and budgets and facilities and staff salary. If the discrepancies are there, it's really, you can't get rid of it. I think they're more worried about the sign stealing. They're calling it an integrity breach. Any way you start to get into the cheating category, I think it transcends all that. So if that was the intent, that they're going there to just try and watch the hand gestures and the signals that they're sending in to call the plays, then it becomes a problem. I'd agree it's a competitive disadvantage. But if it really is just going and scouting like the old days, I don't see what's wrong with it. But no, I think it comes back to their integrity. They're cheating, they're stealing kind of category, not so much the advantage of the big schools, because they have advantages all over the place.
Brett Ciancia from Pick Six Previews joining us. Matt Rule, Brett, said the Iowa-Wisconsin game was beautiful. Do you agree? And how would you describe the Big Ten West?
Hey, I love old-time football. I think it is beautiful. I love the strategy of it when you watch Iowa play. Their punting and their defense and their special teams. Every time you turn them on, you think they can't get out of this, and then they pull off a safety or they pull off a punt down at the 1 yard line. It's just interesting and intriguing to watch. And yeah, that's just the Big Ten West formula. Coaches know that's how you win up there, and they build their programs towards it. And it's funny because when Alabama and LSU, they play a low-scoring game, it's all about how beautiful it is, all incredible defense, wow. And then when the Big Ten West does it, all the national pundits get on Twitter and throw their one-liners out there. So, no, I think you got to be consistent. I like all types of games. I mean, I like mixing up, seeing a Big 12 shootout, seeing a Big Ten West defensive grind. And, that was really the pinnacle. Although you might have one even more this Saturday with Iowa, Minnesota, setting the all-time low for an over-under. 31 points in a game is the Vegas number.
Hey, kickers matter. I'm okay for 12-3.
Punters matter too.
Yeah.
Hey, with that game now, we all kind of do, we put our money down where we think, we feel the best at. I keep looking at that line with Iowa as a 3.5 point favorite. We know PJ Fleck's record against Iowa. He has not yet beat Kirk Ferentz. Something about that 3.5, it just seems so enticing, especially that game being played at Kinnick. But I cannot get past how woeful the offense is for Iowa. And thinking of Deacon Hill and just the quarterback play at some point, I feel like that could hurt them. And at least even if Iowa wins, maybe it's by a point. I'm really curious how you kind of look at that Iowa-Minnesota game with Iowa laying the 3.5.
Yeah, well, I'm glad you brought that up. That comes in as one of my 3 best bets of the week. I really like the Iowa spot there, -3, -3.5 at home. And we can talk about Iowa's offensive struggles. Minnesota has their problems on offense of their own. And when I run my numbers, it's one of the biggest mismatches when you're comparing offense versus defense. Iowa's top 10 defense versus Minnesota's bottom 10 offense. And the margins aren't as wide on the other side of the ball with an average Minnesota defense against Iowa's poor offense. So statistical advantage to Iowa there. Both terrible offense, but Iowa definitely has the best unit in their incredible defense. So home field, special teams, defense, coaching, and they still have their slate set on the Big Ten West. So I'll go with Iowa here.
A critical game in L.A. Tomorrow night. But why are we in a position, Brett, that Utah is going for their 4th straight victory against USC? That just doesn't sound right. But we watch football. We know the advantage that Utah has when they play USC. What happens in this game?
Yeah, well, this is another one of those Pick Six Previews picks of the year where I had coming in. I had Utah going back to Las Vegas. Most people had USC. So here it is. Let's see, round 4, like you mentioned. The difference is I didn't sign up for such an injured roster. 9 starters injured throughout the season. Starting quarterback Cam Rising out. Their All-American tight end is out. Even the backup tight end. 3 offensive linemen. So on and on and on. You go down the roster. The defense is banged up. All that to say, I think Utah still has a great chance here. They're going to dominate both trenches. I think that they can just take what the blueprint that Notre Dame laid out last Saturday. Bring a lot of pressures on Caleb Williams. Don't let him get comfortable in the pocket. Change things up on him, get some turnovers, and convert short fields. So I think Utah takes that blueprint, and Utah fans were quick to point out that was already their blueprint. They did that twice last year. It's just that Notre Dame emulated them Saturday night. So I think Utah gets it done again in a real close one. Even though it's in LA, I'm going to go Utah to win.
Florida State and Duke, and with Florida State a couple touchdown favorite against Duke. Look, one of the great stories in college football has been Duke and Mike Elko, and if you think about how Florida State has just kind of been, pretty steady right there as a top 5 team. How are you seeing this one play out in Tallahassee?
Well, this is definitely an important one for the ACC race. Only 8 games over there. The schedules are scattered, so you don't get all these big matchups. So this one might go a long way for both teams, getting one of the 2 ACC title spots. I think Florida State has way more roster talent and explosiveness on both sides of the ball. I think that Duke, with a healthy quarterback, might contend a little better, but I think that Riley Leonard is under 100%. He might not even play. He didn't play last week. That's going to hurt. So I like Florida State big here. I'm going to stick with my preseason prediction that they would win the ACC and make the playoff. And so far, so good. I mean, they've looked incredible. Keon Coleman, one of the best players in the country at receiver, drawing some Peter Warwick comparisons. The guy's dynamic, and they're going to get him the ball a lot. So I'll go Florida State heavy here.
Help me figure out who Alabama is. Post-Texas, they've won 5 in a row. None of them have been easy. But, man, they're on a path to get back to the playoff with this Alabama team. How?
Yeah, well, with Alabama, you almost have to just compare them to themselves and just find other Alabama examples because they're on their own dynasty tier right now. And I think the best comparison, you go back to probably the 2014, 2015 era, where it was ball control, it was big, powerful run games, and then a great defense. And they didn't mind winning games 20 to 10 or 24-21. Compared to the more recent teams, the Mac Jones, Tua, the Jalen Hurts, where they were, All-Americans, NFLers at receiver, and they were dropping 60 points a game. So I think it's a little bit of a throwback. Saban wanted that. I mean, you listen to his coach's show. It was back last November. He mentioned he wants to return to the old formula, and it certainly has happened here. I think they're still a really strong team, and they still control their own destiny to the playoff. It's crazy to think, but if they win out, they're definitely in as a one-loss conference champ. So I think you still have a solid team growing as the season goes. I think Jalen Milroe developing as the season goes. The limiting factor is their pass protection. Let's see if they get that fixed. It's dead last in the country.
Hey, looking at the Washington State-Oregon game, obviously he's lost a little bit of its luster, considering not necessarily Oregon, but what happened to Washington State. Are we more down on Washington State or more applauding Arizona with what they were due last time out against Washington State?
Yeah, I guess it's both because Arizona really flexed last week, 44-6, huge yardage margin, and they really, it could have been 2 in a row big wins because they had USC. They had a huge lead on USC late 2 Saturdays ago. Took them to triple overtime and couldn't finish it off. But over the last 2 or 3 weeks, there might not be a more hotter team than Arizona. They found lightning in a bottle with Tafita, their freshman quarterback. So really good offense, and now the defense is elevating too. So you have a complete team there. That could be a team that throws in a loss to one of these contenders in the Pac-12. We talk about the Pac-12 beating each other up. They have a hard enough gauntlet at the top. Arizona might throw a loss into the mix too. So keep an eye on them. Washington State, I think they are who we think. I mean, I think they're an average team. I think they had a nice win over Wisconsin, the nice win over Oregon State, but they're going to take on some losses here. I think they're more a 7-5 type of team.
Hey, we know that there'll be one game that'll come up and bite a team that's ranked. Are there a couple of games that you have an eye on that other people might not watch, but you're the head of the Sickos committee, so you will?
Oh, I mean, well, in the ACC, you can start there where I'm calling it the semifinal weekend because you have 4 of the top 5 contenders for those 2 spots. We already hit on Florida State, Duke, but you got Clemson, Miami. I think that you have 2 solid teams there despite Miami's record. So that one I'll have an eye on later in the day. What else? Well, for you guys, Nebraska Northwestern, I feel like it's been so long since I've seen Nebraska play. I want to see this defense. They're grading out really strong in my numbers on defense. Tony White so far, top 15 defense. And that's a huge mismatch going against a bottom 10 offense for Northwestern. So one of the bigger mismatches of the weekend. I want to see that one. But yeah, it's going to be a crowded slate. Another one, Air Force Navy. This one, if you like triple option and low scoring, Air Force is undefeated right now, and you have the first of 3 Commander-in-Chief games on the line. It's in Annapolis, so that's another one to have on your side screen at noon next to the Ohio State-Penn State game.
All right. I don't want to see you on any viral videos. Have fun at the Dolphins-Eagles game Sunday night.
Kelly Greens are back. The Kelly Green uniform.
Hey, great stuff.
Thank you,
Have a great weekend, and love the Game Grader stuff. That's Brett Ciancia from Pick 6 Previews. That's Brett. He'll join us as he does every Friday. I'm staring at this line. Why is the Minnesota-Iowa game such a stinky line? Iowa is ranked.
Yeah.
They're at home. Kirk Ferentz has never lost to PJ Fleck. We know what Minnesota looks like. The line is only 3.5. Why is it so stinky?
It's got to be just how historically bad the offense is. And Brett's right. Like Minnesota's offense, we saw that. We've seen it. It's not that much better. And you would think Iowa's defense would be able to trump all that. But that offense I think it's so hard to get on any type of really big number with that offense, even with the formula that Iowa has to win with defense and special teams.
Say 18-3.
Because I think that game is extremely tempting to go after because of how low that number is. But then it makes you think, okay, what are we missing here?
Yeah, what do you know that we don't?
Yeah, because the offense is putrid. But despite all that, hey, we talked about it several times this week that there's still a solid path. But I mean, it almost feels like it could be one of those games where Iowa wins. If you get it at 3.5, maybe they win 13-10. And so you're just on the other side of that one. It's one
Is
that
Iowa on upset alert?
I don't think so. Well, okay. Well, actually, let me take that back. I think with their offense, the belief is that at some point that is going to be the difference. It hurts them really bad.
Where the defense just doesn't
So
show
maybe
up.
every week they are with that offense. Maybe every week they are. I don't put a lot of faith in Minnesota though.
You're ranked. You're at home. You're only a 3.5 point favorite. There's something up with that line.
6-0.
I'm looking at 12. I'm looking at 12-3.
How about 12-8? You're still covered.
Still a cover.
PJ Fleck has trouble against teams that are built like him.
Yep.
And that's what Iowa's.
Yeah.
I mean, Minnesota emulates like other teams do in the West. They emulate Iowa, and Fleck has trouble with them. And there have been, like last year, you would have thought that Minnesota team would beat Iowa.
Mm-hmm.
Especially Iowa was a little bit down. They go into Minneapolis. They controlled that game.
Yep.
Was the year.
We'll see. That's the game that is right up with Nebraska-Northwestern. We'll get into more Nebraska-Northwestern talk because Brett brought something up about the defense that I want to touch on. Lee Sterling, he's got picks. He's coming up next on Mornings with Sharp and Handley from Hy-Vee, 132nd and Dodge, Big Red unauthorized breakfast on the zone.
Hey guys, been telling you about the 2024 Mazda CX-90 from Woodhouse Mazda, and this is that Mazda again with the third row seating. You get the option of the captain's chairs or the bench seat. It's got great mileage, and you can fit up to 8 passengers. And right now, you can get a tremendous offer over at Woodhouse Mazda. Get a 2024 Mazda CX-90 at 0.9% APR for 36 months. 1.9% APR for 48 months, or 2.9% APR for 60 months, even 3.9% APR for 72 months. You can shop at 2 convenient locations, Woodhouse Mazda in Bellevue or Woodhouse Place Mazda, 144th and Giles Road. Customer experience is second to none. It's why I and so many others are customers for life, because you know exactly what to expect. You know what you're looking for. They are going to work with you, but also now you have the convenience of even getting your deal started online at WoodhouseMazda.com or WoodhousePlaceMazda.com. So embrace fall travel in ultimate style and comfort with a Mazda CX-90 from Woodhouse Mazda. It's a drive worth experiencing. With approved credit, tax, title, license, extra when financed with Mazda Financial Services. $299 due. Doc fee due at signing. Excludes PHEV models. Offer expires 10/31/23. See dealer for details.
More with Gary and Nick after this on 1620 The Zone. For the Jays, the Huskers, and even you Jayskers. We are 1620 The Zone.
Terrors of the night stalk among the trees. In the distance, fear awaits. A shriek, laughter, then silence. It's the season of darkness at the Ranch of Terror and Haunted Hayride. Spend an hour with nothing to protect you but your own screams. Bring your group and witness unspeakable horrors that test every fiber of your nerves. Hayride and House combo $30 or $19 separately. The Ranch of Terror and Haunted Hayride. BellevueBerryFarm.com.
Sports fans, Let It Fly Sports Bar is your elevated sports bar experience. Indulge in our culinary touchdowns with a menu crafted to satisfy. Savory burgers, tender steaks, to our fire wings. Our world-renowned chef will leave your taste buds cheering for more. We've raised the sports bar dining experience with a new high-end design and incredible food. Whether you're a die-hard sports fan or just love the excitement, Let It Fly is your place. Host your next college game day watch party or private event right here. Elevate your game day experience at Let It Fly, located in downtown Omaha.
Hey, if you're thinking about getting the latest iPhone, check this out. With Boost Infinite, you get the latest iPhone every year and unlimited wireless for just $60 a month. Yeah, you get the new iPhone 15 Pro with titanium. Then again, next year, you get the latest iPhone. Every year. Boost Infinite. Infinitely better. To learn more, pick up your phone, dial pound 250 and say Boost Infinite. That's pound 250 and say Boost Infinite. Terms apply. After 30 gigabytes, service may be slowed. Receive a comparable iPhone model each year with an acceptable trade-in every year. Requires credit qualification and 36-month phone financing agreement. You'll have the option to receive a one-time auto-dial text message from this station's network.
It's game day at Jim's house, and the spread is impressive.
Mike's already done some damage with the hot wings, and now he's dropping back and going deep for another slice of pizza.
I sure hope he brought the Pepto.
Mike knows the Pepto-Bismol provides fast 5-symptom relief from unexpected stomach upsets. He's no rookie.
The way he's throwing back those nachos, he's the GOAT.
Be ready for game day with Pepto-Bismol.
When you have nausea, heartburn, indigestion, upset stomach, diarrhea.
Use as directed. Keep out of reach of children.
News Talk 1290 Coil is your home for Omaha Maverick hockey all season long. Don't miss a single puck drop, power play, barn burner, or any of the action this season. Your home for Maverick hockey, both home and away. News Talk 1290 Coil.
Prescriptions require an online consultation with a healthcare provider who will determine if appropriate. Restrictions apply. See website for details and important safety information. Subscription required. Price varies based on product and subscription plan.
Hey guys, did you know there's a generic form of Viagra that works just the same, but is 95% cheaper? And you can get it online? Just go to hims.com/radio. Through Hims, you'll get a free medical consultation, discreet shipping if prescribed, a 100% online process, and trusted generic alternatives to the name brands at up to 95% off. That's right. Get generic for Viagra, the same active ingredient as brand name Viagra, but for 95% less. It's the same medication, still prescribed by a licensed medical provider, but with zero copay, no expensive appointments, and no awkward face-to-face conversations. To start your free online visit, you need to go to this exclusive address, hims.com/radio. That's hims.com/radio for your free online visit. hims.com/radio.
Hey everyone, Josh and John here for the FanDuel Sportsbook. Another week of football will be here, and there is a huge matchup, John, between the Dolphins and the Eagles. This one taking place in Philadelphia, perhaps a Super Bowl preview. And right now, new customers can get $200 in bonus bets guaranteed. That means $200 in bonus bets, win or lose, John. All they got to do is go to FanDuel.com/1620. Bet on this game or another one in Week 7 of the NFL.
And with FanDuel, you can also take a look at some alternate lines. In other words, if you're really confident that someone's going to have a big day passing, you can actually bump up the total for that individual player. And right now, new customers, $200 in bonus bets guaranteed when you place that first $5 bet. FanDuel.com/1620. 21 plus in President Iowa. First online real money wager only. $10 first deposit required. Bonus issued as non-withdrawable bonus bets that expire 7 days after receipt. Restrictions apply. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-BETS-OFF.
1620 The Zone at 1620thezone.com. And we're back. Mornings with Sharp and Handley. Here's Gary, Nick, and Jimmy on 1620 The Zone.
All right, week 8 of the college football season, week 7 of the NFL got started last night, scintillating Jacksonville and New Orleans. Jacksonville's won 4 in a row. Detroit, Jacksonville, Super Bowl, Vegas. Can you feel it? We can always feel the heat that Lee Sterling from Paramount Sports brings, joining us on a Football Friday Fiesta. Good morning, Lee. How are you?
I'm real good. Actually leaving tomorrow morning to go see my daughter sing the national anthem for the Chicago Bears on Sunday against the Raiders. So excited about that.
All right. Hopefully she brings them a victory as a very diehard.
Well, it's got to be the highlight. I mean, you got 2 backup quarterbacks playing on Sunday there.
Very true.
Hey, give us a quick little update here because you first told us about how talented your daughter is. She was coming to sing at the Orange Bowl. So that was last holiday season. Now she's going to be at Soldier Field with the fam in attendance while she's belting out the national anthem for all of the Bears fans. Where is this career headed? You got a really, really talented daughter, Lee.
Yeah, well, thank you. She's hard worker. Actually, she couldn't sing. I had the worst voice I've ever heard when she was about 6, 7 years old. And I thought for like 6 months, my wife's getting her singing lessons. I'm like, I actually one point threw up money. I'm like, what are we doing here? And then all of a sudden started coming. So anyone who tells you that singing is just natural, that's the way it happens, not the case. But she's already been in 2 off-Broadway musicals. Actually, she was offered one of the leading roles in a movie, but couldn't do it because she was contractually obligated the same month they were going to be filming the movie on Amazon Prime to be doing off-Broadway, Cross That River, and the year before she did Mystic Pizza. So she's right there on the cusp of making it big. Who knows? Maybe a national tour as a lead. Hint, hint, might be coming up soon.
Ooh! Now, Lee, can you sing?
No, not at all. So
You
my
wanna try?
wife and I can't sing or dance, do nothing. In fact, like when we go to weddings, both my girls, they tell us, don't go on the dance floor. But actually, so my wife, her cousin is Robbie Benson. So maybe it skipped a generation. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Let's hop into it. And it's a busy month at Paramount Sports. It was a busy day in Ann Arbor and East Lansing yesterday. Don't know if the allegations yesterday will be a distraction or not, but it'll just ramp up the rivalry. Michigan State. Michigan is headed towards a national championship appearance. It appears the way they're playing. That's a big line tomorrow in a rivalry game. How are we feeling about East Lansing?
You know, Caton Hauser was an improvement at quarterback for Michigan State, but when you blow a big lead and you allow Rutgers to outscore you 21-0 to wind up the game, it's not happening. Romper room special. Michigan 45-16.
One of the highlights of the college football slate will be in Iowa City with great football. Iowa taking on Minnesota. And it's the 24th ranked Hawkeyes that are a slight home favorite against PJ Fleck, who's winless against Kirk Ferentz. We're seeing that from 3 to 3.5. So how is this one playing out in Kinnick?
So 86% of the bets are on Iowa, and the line hasn't moved. This is a trap line. Don't overthink this. Iowa should be 6.5, 7. They're begging you to play Iowa. I think Mr. Row Your Boat here, maybe he installed an outdoor motor or something, did something here. They're going to find a way. Sometimes just it's a bad line and you don't fall for the trap here. Minnesota here outright 16-13 over Iowa.
Love you long time, Lee. I said that's a stinky line. Hey, Penn State, Ohio State. Penn State is one of the 4 FBS teams that are still undefeated against the spread. They're a 4-point underdog going into the shoe. Massive game with massive implications. What happens?
I think something's wrong with Iowa State. When I grade players in different units, their offensive line, not the same. They don't hold blocks. They don't make blocks at the second level like they've done in the past. And Penn State's defense, number 1 or number 2 in every major statistical defensive category. Ohio State, if not for that last drive, they lose to Notre Dame. Penn State annihilated Iowa 31-0 here. The streak is over. Penn State's lost 9 out of 10. They went outright. Wrong team favored. 31-24.
Okay.
Yep.
All right. Nebraska, Northwestern, both teams coming off of a bye week. We saw the line open up at 13.5. We've seen it go as low as 11 to 11.5. Nebraska looking to, dare I say, stack success. Are they able to do so in Lincoln against Northwestern League?
Usually as a favorite of late since 2019, Nebraska 7-15. However, they haven't faced a team this bad here. This Northwestern team, they rank 3rd in rushing defense here. Cats 10-17 slide against the spread. They failed to reach 15 points on 11 of the last 14 games. Nebraska 28-10.
Let's get to the NFL. Chiefs and the Chargers. Kansas City has owned the AFC West. This is an interesting game. Chiefs are coming off an extended break. They played the Thursday game. Chargers are on a short week on the road after playing on Monday night. We know that the Chargers' ills on defense are well documented. The Chiefs have been really good on defense. Home game at Arrowhead. What happens tomorrow for Mahomes, Kelsey against Herbert and Eckler?
Yeah, last two games last year, 3-point games. I don't think it's going to be the case here. Short week, as you mentioned, and the Chargers can't get a stop on defense, and their offensive line, they can't block anyone and commit penalty after penalty. Kansas City here, 28-20.
All right, and as Locktober continues, we got a free play for all the listeners, and that is in the NFL, Baltimore and Detroit, where the Ravens are a home 3-point favorite.
Yep, love this game. First 5 callers will get Baltimore and Detroit on me. 800-400-9741, and Locktober continues, 2 weeks, $157, or you want to just try us for a day. Love the card on Saturday, 7 selections, $77, or on Sunday, 5 for $55, just one place, ParamountSports.com.
Lee, thank you. Safe travels into Chicago, and again, continued success for your daughter and the rest of the family.
Thanks so much. I'll post the video on Facebook and all of the social media, and it's on the Sunday ticket. If you get the Sunday ticket, tune in about 11:56. You'll be able to watch the game.
Awesome.
Just tune into the Bears game 5 minutes before the game starts. All right.
Hey, thanks, Lee. Lee Sterling from Paramount Sports. His daughter might bring your team good luck.
I hope so.
Jimmy G is out. You got a backup quarterback, and now you got Lee's daughter singing the anthem.
Might have to add the Bears to my 4-quarter pick 'em for this week.
Really?
No.
Yeah. You know,
No,
but
not
I'll say
touching
this, though, and anybody who follows the Chicago Blackhawk ice hockey traditions, and sometimes that carry over into the Chicago Bears, national anthem singing for those events, no joke, because of the famous Jim Corneliuson, who has been not once but twice in Omaha to do the national anthem for hockey as well. So you're sharing the mic with one of the most highly regarded there too. That's awesome.
Did they cheer here?
Yes, some of them did.
They did the outdoor game.
Yeah, the outdoor game they did.
Okay, so we also have to have a total on how long into game day tomorrow before the Michigan thing is brought up, and Desmond Howard says that the Wolverines should remove themselves from the Big Ten. Are we 2 minutes in?
Easily, yeah.
When they say, we're coming to your city, and Reese says, you're looking live at Columbus, Ohio. Desmond?
Well, see, that needs to be an Ohio State on Michigan crime. Kirk Herbstreit needs to set up Desmond for that.
Here's the solution. Radios and helmets. Bill Callahan was very, very smart when he wondered aloud when he came to Nebraska. Why don't we have radios and helmets? And also, way to cover it for Nebraska so you don't have to worry about it. Let's go. Let's go, Rule. Switch sidelines.
Yep.
Because it's so awkward now when Nebraska runs on the field. They run on the field, they make a quick left.
Yeah.
Out of the new entrance, over to the other sideline. Your back's to the press box. Nobody's stealing signs.
Yep.
I got solutions.
They dogleg left.
But really, radios and helmets in college, I don't know why we haven't gotten to that point.
It's not like it was a new NFL's had it, since 94? It's not a new technology.
Yeah.
So, I mean, you tell me there's not money in college athletics to be able to pull this off?
Yeah. Jimmy, I know you're chomping at the bit to get in this conversation, but you are excluded because you're an Astros fan. You cannot have a discussion about sign stealing because you're an Astro fan.
That is true.
So pipe down.
Yeah, you're jaded.
Halfway through, it is halftime. Woo! Yeah, we've made it, and we haven't got kicked out of here, right, Kim? Right.
Not
By the way, I found out that Deb, who works here, license plate GBR Freak.
Nice.
And she writes poems, really good poems, after Nebraska games.
Yeah, you got to see one.
This man, you learn a lot at Hy-Vee.
Could she call into Overreaction tomorrow and share one?
Yeah, she could.
I'll set her up.
That's a good Big Red overreaction moment. Just do the poem during Big Red overreaction.
I will set her up. Okay. All right, the hype is real. Not for Nebraska Northwestern. For Nebraska-Wisconsin volleyball. We'll talk about it coming up in the next hour. Mike Schaefer will join us, and we're going to wonder aloud, why is Nebraska recruiting junior college wide receivers? And Matt Verzal will stop by, all with mornings with Sharp and Handley, and Jimmy here as well. At 132nd and Dodge, the Linden Market Street Hy-Vee on 1620 The Zone. Woodhouse Buick GMC, not very far from here at 119th and I. They are the place for you if you are looking for that prime vehicle. Now, I can tell you as a customer, and I've had 3 different vehicles through Woodhouse, and the most recent was purchased at Woodhouse Buick GMC. They simply have something for everyone, and they can take care of you right now. You're thinking, okay, what about the 24s? Yeah, the 24 GMC Sierra 2500. It is available and arriving weekly. But let me introduce you to the Buick Enclave Avenir. All-wheel drive. Right now, you can save $3,000 off MSRP. I've driven it. It's got adaptive cruise control, panoramic moonroof. It has got seats that you just slide in and you feel real comfortable driving. You can see this on display right now. Take it for a test drive. You know what? Make it part of your arsenal at Woodhouse Buick GMC, 119th and I, climate-controlled showroom where you can shop in all kinds of weather. And it doesn't matter the weather when you're online at WoodhouseBuickGMC.com. GMC, we are professional grade.
Mornings with Sharp and Handley returns in minutes on 1620 The Zone. Live from the Host Coffee Studio, this is 1620 The Zone. 1620 The Zone. Traffic.
From the Zoom Drain Time-Saving Traffic Center, we have one accident to report that has 2 left lanes blocked along Fort Crook Road at Chandler Road, so please be cautious if you're in that area. Along Industrial Road, be prepared for a major delay from 138th to 120th, and along Highway 370, be prepared for some significant slowdowns from 144th to the I-80 East and West ramps. As always, remember to stay safe and wear your seatbelts. I'm Chris Scott. This time-saving traffic was brought to you by the Nebraska Lottery.
The Nebraska Lottery has raised over $951 million, which has helped to provide more than 117,000 college scholarships, save wildlife habitats across the state, and fund new facilities at the Nebraska State Fair. The Nebraska Lottery, helping to build a better Nebraska.
Snap in action this NFL season with FanDuel. It's America's #1 sportsbook, and right now, new customers, listen up. You can get $200 in bonus bets guaranteed when all you do is place a $5 bet. Listen, the math is pretty good. $200 in bonus bets, win or lose.
And if you've been thinking about joining FanDuel, well, first of all, what have you been waiting for? There's no better time to get in on the action. The app is easy to use, a wide range of betting options, including spreads, player props, over-unders, and much more. Visit FanDuel.com. Use the promo code ZONE. Again, that's FanDuel.com/zone. And kick off the NFL season. FanDuel, official partner of the NFL. 21 plus and present in Iowa. First online real money wager only. $10 deposit required. Bonus issued as non-withdrawable bonus bets that expires 7 days after receipt. Restrictions apply. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. Gambling problem? Call 1-800.
Hi, this is Doug Nodgard with Equitable Bank. Great service never goes out of style. When the digital age dawned, many said computers would be able to handle many of the interactions that used to take a person. Boy, were they wrong. How many times have you called your bank and gotten a recording to press 1 or 2? Not at Equitable. Not only does Equitable answer your call on the first ring, it's answered by a human being. That's because Equitable Bank values its customers. Equitable Bank, we take banking personally. Member FDIC.
Host is roasting every morning. Host is roasting every day.
Put your coffee department in good hands with Host Coffee Service, providing direct delivery and loaned coffee equipment with service programs. If you're ready to change to a better coffee provider, it's time for Host Coffee.
Omaha's best coffee since 1972. Host Coffee is always roasting something good for you.
Hi, everybody. Kent Pavelka here with why I chose Everlevel Concrete Repair for my driveway. They do it all. They fix cracks, lift sunken slabs, protect the finished product from deterioration, and all at a fraction of the price of replacement. It's not a Band-Aid like other repair methods. Everlevel's products are designed to last, which is why they've been voted Best of Omaha again this year. Better yet, it all comes with a transferable warranty. Protect your concrete before winter. Call Everlevel today for your free inspection. Everlevel. They make your driveway Everlevel. Level up.
Each home game Friday, Hy-Vee hosts the Big Red Breakfast Buffet on 1620 The Zone. Join the unauthorized Big Red Breakfast Show live from 6 to 10 with Gary Sharp and Nick Handley, and enjoy breakfast from Hy-Vee Market Grill, featuring all your favorite breakfast food. This buffet is sure to make your day. A one-trip buffet is just $12 or all you can eat for only $15. Buffet includes scrambled eggs, party potatoes, bacon, sausage, biscuits and gravy, and assorted pastries. It's the unauthorized Big Red Breakfast at Hy-Vee home game Fridays on 1620 The Zone.
Oh, from the darker side, disturbed live in the sickness. Take back your life tour, January 29th. CHI Health Center Arena. New album, Divisive, available now. With special guest, Falling in Reverse, and Plush. Tickets on sale Friday at 10 a.m. at Ticketmaster.com. Don't miss Disturbed live.
This hour is powered by Dollar General Distribution Center in Blair, Nebraska on 1620 The Zone. Let it fly. Your elevated sports bar experience. KOZ and Bellevue, Omaha, Council Bluffs. This is 1620 The Zone. Now back to mornings with Sharp and Handley on 1620 The Zone.
Halftime, brought to you by Hearth Cigars and Pipes Lounge, just off 680 and 48th Street next to Cubby's. It's Hearth Cigars and Pipes Lounge.
All right, welcome back in. We are at the Hy-Vee, the Linden Street Market HyVee, 132nd and Dodge. Things are bumping here. We have pumpkins. If you'd like to come and carve the pumpkin on air, you are more than welcome. And then you can take it home. I just walked by the buffet.
There's Nick.
There's pastries. Did you go somewhere?
Yeah, 1620 the pumpkin.
He was having some pancakes.
I got some coffee.
Yes, you did.
All right, coming up here at the bottom of the hour is Lincoln. I can never pronounce his last
Lincoln
name.
Arneal.
Lincoln Arneal.
It's not your Neil, it's Arneal.
Arneal, who is a podcaster.
Yes.
Great volleyball podcast with him and Jeff Sheldon, who are two guys that know that sport really, really well. But Lincoln is really, really good, loves the sport of volleyball. We'll have him break down Nebraska and Wisconsin and ask, is the hype real? You know, this could be the first of 3 meetings between Nebraska and Wisconsin.
I just want to say something. We've been, I think even as of last week, we made reference that this could be volleyball's game of the century. It's being used a lot now by some of our other media.
Yeah,
folk,
you know
and
what?
I like to think we coined it
By
first.
the way, you know somebody that stole your idea the other day? I'm surprised you haven't gotten at her. Amy just
Yes, she
said,
did.
should this be a no-sit Saturday?
Yes, thank you.
Brought that up
I heard
the other
that
day.
too.
You guys should argue on Monday.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, come on.
Oh,
I got Amy 3.5.
That'll go over well. Yeah, I think Amy.
Actually, well,
Nick, I'll be there for you.
yeah, I got
You
Amy
got my back?
7.5.
You got my back. All right. Appreciate
All right,
it.
so we'll get into that coming up in at the bottom of the hour. So back to Nebraska Northwestern tomorrow, and I brought up Malachi Coleman before in the last hour, and Malachi now is going to start, and I expect him to score a touchdown. And it has been a slow transition for some of these wide receivers because they weren't here at the spring. Okay, they came in mid-time, and it's been even more difficult because the guy that you thought you were going to develop a chemistry with, he's holding the clipboard tomorrow in Jeff Sims. So this is an interesting transition to they're all in on Harburg. They're designing the offense around him. The passing game all of a sudden isn't going to just go, woo, overnight. But now you've had a good extended period of time now that Marcus Washington is out. So you're not only working with the Billy Kemps and the Thomas Fidonis of the world and the Bullocks, you now incorporate the Malachi Colemans, the Lloyd. I think Doss, I think we want to fast forward Doss. I think you need to go a little bit slower with him. But I'm curious to see what the chemistry is like. And then also Northwestern, and I hope Nebraska unleashes these track guys to make them true college wide receivers, how to develop with that speed. But Malachi Coleman needs a good final 6 games because Nebraska needs him. They need him to be productive and to be Malachi Coleman because it benefits everybody. But now that they have him, you've heard me say this all week, Nick, it's time to use him.
Yeah, absolutely. It's time. And I like what Matt Rule said when it's their time. Makes me think that these guys are not just basically occupying a position that's going to be on the field. You know, it's now you want to see them contribute to the game in statistical categories. And for Malachi Coleman, you think about it, and this is where it's okay for us as members of the media to start projecting forward into the actual 2024 season, where you could say, if he's able to really kind of pick up, build chemistry, have some production, have some contributions, especially with some interesting defense that you got along the way, what that can do to his offseason, what that can do to this receiving group coming back in another year, where you now have a guy that was kind of thrown in. Maybe I think we all agree that we're going to see Malachi Coleman in doses throughout the year. But now that you're a starter because of the circumstances in that wide receiving room, you can always think about guys that are going to either sink or swim, but what that can do as long as they're able to kind of stay level-headed about the whole situation, what that can do for that wide receiving room, just one body right there, what that can do for that wide receiving room in another year. So this is a game, I think, a perfect opportunity for him to have those types of contributions. Again, I've said between him and Jalen Lloyd, I'm throwing out that prediction, a bold prediction of 4 for 40, where they get at least 4 catches for at least 40 yards. And I think that goes into, again, what this offense is going to be about, where it's not going to be air raid or anything. But do we see maybe even one of those completions? Is one of them a big play? Is one of them a chunk play? Do you get one of those guys that is able to kind of stretch out the field a little bit too? Because it's what this offense, at least in the passing game, having the threat of that, what that could also do to this offense.
Hey, is there a scary notion out there that some wide receivers don't play well with quarterbacks that don't throw well?
Sure.
So I'm using this. I might be reaching, and you guys can come and do what the NCAA will do to Michigan and just slap me on the wrist. But
or put Oklahoma State on probation.
Malachi had a really good quarterback as a junior, Noah Walters. Malachi was really, really good as a junior. Last year, Lincoln East was trying to figure out the quarterback position. Nebraska's trying to figure out the passing part of the Heinrich Harburg experience. So I just kind of caught myself here. Do I need to just pause a little bit on what Malachi will look like in the final 6 to what a better passing quarterback would do for him next year and beyond?
Sure. No, that's totally fair. And just like the conversation we were having about offensive line getting into a rhythm, I think that is 100% part of, especially young wide receivers that are trying to acclimate themselves into the college game and into the speed of it. I think the best way to be involved and to feel confident about what you're doing and your ability to impact the team is by having that type of rhythm. And that is something to watch, because then there's also the, okay, if there is another, again, not saying that this offense elevates to a level that we haven't seen, but if there's another dynamic to this offense, it's got to come in the passing game. Now, that doesn't mean, again, that all of a sudden Heinrich Harburg is going to attempt 30 passes or more.
Oh, if they're attempting 30 passes tomorrow, we're done. Don't even think about going to the volleyball.
Who's on Big Red Overreaction tomorrow?
2 jabronis are on that show. No, if Nebraska is not running the ball 50 times tomorrow, then I'm having some speaks with Mr. Satterfield and wondering where did you stop off on the way to the game? No.
Did you have some shark waters over there?
Get some of the cornhead log.
I think Nebraska, and I kind of know what you're getting at, Nick.
Yeah.
Nebraska can't abandon the passing game. Listen, it isn't all. The uncomfortable part of watching this Nebraska offense when it comes to the passing game is if you are sitting up high, because there are guys that are getting open further down the field that there is really no shot that the ball is going to come their way, because that's not a strength. But they still have to throw the football to keep people honest, but they're not going to do the Wisconsin throw it 50 against an Iowa defense. They're still going to have to throw it 16 to 18 times. But I'm just saying, some guys just and hey, I would love to play with the best intramural quarterback out there, but my intramural quarterback sucked. He was like, hey, we got to run the ball playing flag football. I'm like, what are you talking about?
I was an intramural quarterback.
So, we might have to pause it a little bit. But this is all encompassing about this offense. And then Satterfield always gets into the conversation. Don't overthink things.
Yep.
Tomorrow is a run the ball day.
It is. Totally.
Northwestern gives up 172 yards on the ground. That is one of your strengths. Just add a little up tempo and run the ball. But there also will be the element of catching the football, and we'll see.
And to the Malachi part
run
of
the
that,
ball Saturday. Got it.
What is Heinrich Harburg?
I like that.
Where I like
hashtag that.
Heinrich has put, at least in the passing game, has found the ability and the chemistry with Thomas Fidone. And so there's a target right there. You've seen Thomas Fidone's presence, which I still think is we're only scratching the surface with Thomas Fidone, especially with who's throwing them the football. But can you at some point in the remaining 6 games get even a little bit of that out of Malachi Coleman, to where all of a sudden you're kind of developing that type of chemistry where you know he's going to be where he needs to be. You feel confident, even if you have some pressure, you're bearing down or you're rolling out, you're cutting the field in half, that you trust Malachi to, break off of his route, to, as you're extending the play, that he's also going to be in sync with, I know where Malachi is going to be. He knows where I want to go with it. Can you start to develop a little bit of that chemistry? Again, maybe don't even put a number on it. I'm saying, hey, between the 2-4 for at least 40.
Let's put a number for the last 6 games.
For the last 6 games. And I know Sip throughout, hey, he should be in the 20 to 25 catch range in 6 games. I don't know. That might be a bit high. To me, that might be a bit high, considering what this offense wants to do. But I think if you're between 15 and 20, depending on what that produced. Now, I'm not talking about any smoke routes or anything like that. I'm talking about actually anything downfield beyond 5 yards. 15 to 20 receptions, I think would be very good for Malachi Coleman. Because you're going to have some tough sledding against Wisconsin and Iowa when it comes to their defense. And even Maryland's defense is no pushover. So are you finding Malachi Coleman towards the end of the year, once that game is wrapped up against Iowa, is he in the 15 to 20 catch conversation? I think that would be that'd be a good number.
And then you have, there's another part of the passing game that isn't involving a freshman track guy, is Billy Kemp needs more touches.
Yep.
So Billy Kemp in 6 games has 22 touches. 20 of those are receiving, 2 are rushing. I don't know where we're at with punt returns, because he's returned 5 for a shade under 4 yards, and that might just be, that's a Nebraska thing, by the way. I think from here until I'm taking a dirt nap, Nebraska's going to struggle in the punt return game.
What happens though when they actually return one?
But do they find a way? Like this is all part of tomorrow of having a bye week, and now you know who your offensive guys are.
Yeah.
Do they design something where Billy Kemp gets more touches? Because if Nebraska wants to get to where they're going, and you look at what the schedule is and what the offenses and defenses are going to face, man, can Nebraska get to where they want to go and Billy Kemp still has under 4 touches per game? Is that a winning formula?
No, because the thing that I think Billy Kemp brings to you in the passing game is he does give you a little bit of that flexibility where you can use him out on the edge. You can use him in the 3rd and short where you need other than Thomas Fidone, you need a reliable wide receiver and a target that if you're putting the ball within his catch radius, he's going to make that play. So to think that Nebraska's not going to be in those situations where his presence as a wide receiver, I'm not talking about as a guy on the field that you can, give the occasional toss out to, as an actual wide receiver. Yeah, I think those touches need to elevate it, not dramatically. It's not like you have to double them, but that has to elevate to kind of make this offense, again, as complementary as it can be. Not for this offense to be explosive. I think we're done talking about this offense trying to even come close to anything explosive, but to be complementary to what the identity is with this defense.
Terry writes in, and this is a very selfish email from Terry in the Equitable Bank inbox. He said, "Hi, guys.
Hey.
Run the ball, keep the clock running so we can get back to Omaha to see the first set versus Wisconsin."
It's come to that.
Yes. John says, if Nebraska abandons the run tomorrow, remember Rule said he is sitting on his coordinator. So if you want to have speaks with someone, it is Rule. Even though I think Satterfield should look at his options after the season. Whoa.
Wow.
No, tomorrow is a simple run the ball day. I mean, Nebraska has all the makings of 250 plus rushing yards.
Well, you said the key word there, simple.
I mean,
simple.
It's set up for you. Now, who's running the football? That's another question in the 5th hour of Mornings with Sharp and Handley.
That was a great question, by the way, because, and I don't know, I know you caught this. I don't know how many maybe fans caught this when it was Matt Rule, and I believe it was on his Monday press conference when he was asked about the running back room. Oh, no, I take that back. It was Marcus Satterfield. He was asked about the running back room, and specifically he was asked about Anthony Grant and how is he, recovered and rebounded from sort of ups and downs and, even having a fumble in the Illinois game. I don't know if anybody picked it up right away, but as he was kind of talking about more of the room itself and then transitioned to Emmett Johnson. It went from a question about Anthony Grant and it ended as far as a response about Emmett Johnson. So I don't know what to make of that. I still think 23 is your guy. He has to be. But again, and you brought this up yesterday, is the other thing that I caught about that of not even really being asked about Emmett, but he went there. But he also then went back to Anthony Grant, has to prove it every week. I understand that when you've got a healthy Ramir and you've got a healthy Gabe Ervin, you got Anthony Grant and Emmett Johnson and a wide receiver who showed up overweight, now transitioning to running back. Like, that's your group. I'm all about keeping these guys sharp and motivated and whatever you can do, but is he still on a week in, week out trial basis? And what does that say about Anthony Grant?
Well, the Anthony Grant, I mean,
I've
said this.
Yeah, it was a
I
handoff.
think this is an all-encompassing Anthony Grant, the football player, Anthony Grant, the person, to get to where he's going at his next step, either professionally carrying the football or whatever he's going to do. I think they realize that Anthony Grant is vital to Nebraska to get where they want to go. And so you got to coach him hard.
You need that accountability.
Accountability is a great word. You got to coach him hard. And I think that's what they're doing. I just don't. Now, if the fumbling thing is an issue and it's more than just okay, we can overcome that. Now you've really put us in a bad position. We're putting the car in the garage.
Yeah.
But I just don't see them taking him off the field, because then you already have one hand essentially behind your back on offense.
Mm-hmm.
Then what are you doing? You handcuffing yourself to the pole? Yeah.
Pretty much.
All right. We will transition. We'll talk a little volleyball here. Great to have all of you out here at 132nd and Dodge. We have royalty in the house as well. Nebraska football royalty is in the house. Yeah. Hey. No. You were good. I know I haven't told you that in a while, but you were a good football player at Nebraska. We are at 132nd and Dodge, Linden Street Market, with Mornings with Sharp and Handley and Jimmy as well. We'll talk some Nebraska-Wisconsin volleyball coming up next on 1620 The Zone.
Gary Sharp, Nick Handley, and Jimmy Chavez. Mornings with Sharp and Handley. Weekdays 6 to 10 on 1620 The Zone and 1620thezone.com. Caller 4 right now, 402-951-1620. Qualifies for 1620 The Zone's 4-quarter pick'em. It's your chance to pick 4 football games correctly against the spread to win $1,620. Call 402-951-1620. Call now to qualify with 1620 The Zone. The Conor Happer Show.
So let me tell you a couple of the things that happened to Memorial Stadium as they were building it. Rain plagued the project. At one point, there were 6 feet of water inside the stadium. 2 months before the stadium was set to open, a tornado destroyed some of the wooden forms used to pour sections of the concrete stands.
Material was picked up and moved, and in some places, the wind dipped down below the surface of the ground and picked up heavy material and tossed it about like eggshells.
I like when they compare stuff to stuff.
The Conor Happer Show. Weekdays from 10 to 2 on 1620 The Zone. Your Omaha area forecast, presented by Bellevue Berry and Pumpkin Ranch, from the KETV Newswatch 7 Weather Center on 1620 The Zone.
Bright, warm, and a bit breezy for your Friday, with a high in Omaha today of 80 degrees, southwesterly winds up to 15 miles an hour. Expect very high fire danger into the afternoon. Clearing cool tonight, a low near 50 with winds out of the northwest up to 15 miles an hour. Staying mild and bright as we head into the start of the weekend, a high on Saturday of 67. I'm meteorologist Caitlin Harvey with KETV Newswatch 7.
The Zone Hotline is powered by 42 Degrees. The Source. By your mom's house.
1620 The Zone. Traffic.
From the Zoom Drain Time-Saving Traffic Center, we have one accident to report that has 2 left lanes blocked along Fort Crook Road at Chandler Road, so please be cautious if you're in that area. Along Industrial Road, be prepared for a major delay from 138th to 120th, and along Highway 370, be prepared for some significant slowdowns from 144th to the I-80 East and West ramps. As always, remember to stay safe and wear your seatbelts. I'm Chris Scott. This time-saving traffic is brought to you by Saul's Jewelry and Loan.
If you have a large amount of gold or precious metals and want the best price with no waiting, Saul's makes it easy and fast. Any amount of gold, silver, or jewelry, no limit, immediate payment. Saul's Jewelry and Loan.
Our Cox mobile plans are like a band. The more people you add, the better it sounds. So, add more lines to save more. Pay as low as $30 per line when you add 4 or more gig unlimited lines. It's easy. I like the sound of that. Visit cox.com/mobile. 4 lines required for $30 per line price. Max of 5 lines. Prices exclude taxes, device activation, and other fees and charges, which are subject to change. Cox postpaid internet required. Other restrictions apply.
It's game day at Jim's house, and the spread is impressive.
Mike's already done some damage with the hot wings, and now he's dropping back and going deep for another slice of pizza.
I sure hope he brought the Pepto.
Mike knows the Pepto-Bismol provides fast 5-symptom relief from unexpected stomach upsets. He's no rookie.
The way he's throwing back those nachos, he's the GOAT.
Be ready for game day with Pepto-Bismol.
When you have nausea, heartburn, indigestion, upset stomach, diarrhea.
Use as directed. Keep out of reach of children.
Hey everyone, Josh Peterson here from my friends at Union Omaha. Once again, a regular season champ. The first team to do it twice in USL League One. They enter the postseason on a 14-match winning streak, and they will be playing again on Saturday, October 28th at 4:30. You can buy tickets right now at unionomaha.com. Do not miss out on this great opportunity as they return home to Warner Park on Saturday the 28th. Buy the tickets at unionomaha.com.
The Zone Inbox is brought to you by Equitable Bank. We take banking personally. Email me, Conor Happer, with the Conor Happer Show at Conor, CONNOR, at 1620thezone.com. Send me your love, your hate, and maybe a few hot takes. The Zone Inbox, presented by Equitable Bank.
We're going abroad for the first time in years. To Spain.
But we don't speak Spanish.
So we started using Babbel.
And started learning Spanish fast.
With Babbel, you can start having conversations in another language in just 3 weeks. Babbel's conversational method teaches you real-life words and phrases. And with Babbel's interactive bite-sized lessons, you'll remember what you learned.
¿Cómo te llamas? ¿Cómo te llamas? ¿De dónde eres?
¿De dónde eres?
When you learn a language, you want to actually use it. Babbel is designed with that goal in mind.
In just 3 weeks, we're starting to have conversations in Spanish.
Estoy muy emocionado para ir a España contigo.
Aw, he just said, I'm very excited to go to Spain with you. Nos vamos a divertir mucho.
And that means we're going to have a lot of fun.
Sí. Gracias, Babbel.
Babbel, language for life. Celebrating 10 million subscriptions sold. Now try Babbel for free at Babbel.com. Just go to Babbel.com and start learning a new language today. That's Babbel.com, Babbel.com.
Hey everyone, Josh Peterson here with Dr. Lance Kugler of Kugler Vision. You know, it's been 5.5 years since I had my procedure done at Kugler Vision. I remember going in for the eye analysis and finding out, hey, there's something other than LASIK. That seems to be such a misnomer with so many people, but that's not always the case because there are actually 7 forms of modern vision correction.
Sure, yeah, and obviously LASIK is a huge part of what we do, but as technology improves over the years and over the decades, we continue to add different technologies that become better options for people depending on what they need.
Yeah, and one of the things that I found absolutely incredible was the eye analysis process. You want to know as much about anyone's eyes as you can because that's how you figure out which of those procedures are going to qualify for.
Yeah, our eye analysis process is the most thorough evaluation of your eye that you can possibly have. We all have the same goal. We want you to see as well as you possibly can.
Schedule an eye analysis today. You can visit their website, kuglervision.com. Hey everyone, Josh Peterson here from Unsportsmanlike Conduct. Join John, Nick, and I at Lucky Bucket Brewing for a One Beer Friday brought to you by the Nebraska Craft Brewers Guild Friday afternoon on 1620 The Zone.
And we're back. Mornings with Sharp and Handley. Here's Gary, Nick, and Jimmy on 1620 The Zone.
They're back. Big Red Unauthorized Breakfast. The pride of Brady, Nebraska. Former Nebraska tight end. War number 85. 85 in your program, number 1 in your heart. Monty Kratzenstein was just here. Monty's a great guy. It was great to see him and great to catch up. And now we catch up with a guy who, from afar, I am a huge fan of. He is Mr. Podcaster. Well, on the side, him and Jeff Shelton, by the way, do a fantastic podcast that they recently started, the Volleyball Pod. Lincoln Arneal does a fantastic job covering Nebraska volleyball and the sport for Huskers Illustrated. You can follow him on Twitter at Lincoln_VB. And he, I think, makes his debut on 1620. It is way too long. Lincoln, thank you for your time. Welcome.
You bet. Thanks. Glad to be here, Nick. Glad to grace the airway.
I know when I text Lincoln and I said, hey, can you come on? He immediately responds. You know where Lincoln's at? He immediately responds, yes, I can do that. It's Wisconsin week with an exclamation point. I love it, Lincoln. I love it.
Yes. Yes.
All right.
Big week. Everyone's been looking forward to this since I think it came out in June.
And Merritt Beeson, she just showed up last winter and she said, we've been working towards this since January. So there's a lot of, this, you've now known Coach Cook for a while and you know how he operates. There's the physical part. There's also the mental part, the psychological balance of this is a great for the sport. It's an opportunity for Nebraska. You know what it is in the past history against Wisconsin, but is this just another match, maybe one of possible 3 Nebraska-Wisconsin matchups, or is this bigger than just another match tomorrow night?
It depends on who you talk to. If you talk to the fans, they want it to be a big matchup. I mean, they're building up the hype, buying up tickets, selling tickets for more than $200. But I think Coach Cook is trying to keep all the players' heads out of the clouds and keep them focused on the task at hand and playing volleyball. So I think that the Nebraska players are treating this just like every other match, even though they know that there's a little bit more riding on it, a little bit more at stake. And I think it is special because it's the first one of the year. We don't know how these 2 variants of Nebraska and Wisconsin match up against each other. So there's a little more anticipation leading to this one. So I think this one, of all the possible, the 2 for sure that we're going to get this year, this one means a little bit more.
Well, and Lincoln, I don't want to downplay the result itself because we know if Nebraska wins what that will mean, especially here locally, but also from a national standpoint. But we've also seen, and usually earlier in the season, we're usually talking about non-conference matchups, but we've seen Nebraska kind of use these opportunities against top 5 teams as that measuring stick. And regardless of what happens Saturday, is there still, just based on John Cook's reputation, this program's reputation, that they will take everything about this match and they, no matter how it works out, they'll be better because of it? Oh, for sure. Yes. I think Wisconsin's been that measuring stick the last 4 years. They're the 4-time defending Big Ten champion. And I think Nebraska, they're the team that Nebraska eventually wants to knock off because Nebraska wants to win the conference crown. So I think Nebraska is going to take a lot from this regardless of the game result. And I think one of Nebraska's goals, win the conference championship, is also to be able to host to one of the 4 teams that host a regional. And I don't think that win or lose will impact Nebraska too much. And they need to take care of business. They took care of business during the non-conference schedule to put themselves in good position to be able to host a regional. So Nebraska will take a lot of lessons and know what they have to. If things don't go their way, they'll know what they have to achieve or get to by the end of the season to get the national championship crown or that Black Friday rematch, being better positioned to able to take on Wisconsin then. So I think it'll be a lesson either way. And if they win, hey, that's a great confidence boost and put Nebraska on a path for some really big things possibly.
So injuries are going to play a part in what we see on the floor tomorrow night. I feel awful for Lindsey Krause, who was just starting to ramp up, was playing really, really well. And now she suffered an ankle injury where that could set her back. So Nebraska has to adjust. Allie Batenhorst got the start against Northwestern. Wisconsin has some injury issues as well, but maybe not as severe. So what happens tomorrow night? Because I think let's go inside of this matchup, Lincoln. What kind of system does Wisconsin run? Are they going to be 5-1? Are they going to be 6-2? What do you think their injury situation impacts tomorrow night?
I think that they're a lot closer back to being at full strength than where Nebraska is. Both of their 2 players that missed time, the setter MJ Hamill and then opposite right side hitter Devin Robinson, had missed the last 2. I talked to Dennis Punzel, who covers the Badgers for the Wisconsin State Journal, and he seemed a little more optimistic about MJ Hamill was going to be back. So it depends on if they both are back. If they don't have if MJ Hamill's not back, they're probably definitely not running 6-2. So, but what Wisconsin showed the last 2 matches when they did run a 5-1 with a one-setter offense is they're just as lethal, just as potent of offense as they have been when they get all of their 6 stud hitters out there. So, I don't think Kelly Sheffield is showing his cards and really kind of he's going to keep Nebraska guessing as far as what their availability for the personnel are going to be by the time Saturday night rolls around. So I don't know what we'll see, but I think they're a lot closer to being back healthy. I mean, like I said, they suited up, went through warm-ups on Wednesday night. So I don't think it matters what. I mean, you're still going to get a lot of Sarah Franklin. You're still going to get a lot of Smrek out there, and a lot of Sterling Crawford and Carter Booth in the middle. So they're still going to be pretty low potent out there.
And that brings me to I think the biggest question right now is, if you're Nebraska, you're defending that size, that strength, 6'9", 6'7", 6'4". What is Nebraska's best path in negating what Wisconsin does so well between that height and physicality? And are they, from what you've seen, do you feel like they're equipped to do so, Nebraska?
Yes. I think of any team that I've seen from Nebraska the last few years, this may be the best equipped team because their offense is so efficient. I mean, Bergen Riley, I think, is the key to unlocking a lot of what Nebraska wants to do. And against a team that big and that powerful, Nebraska needs to speed it up just a little bit on their offense, run a little more quick attacks to their middle blockers. So Wisconsin's block can't be effective. They got to hit quicker, get Andy Jackson on that slide, get the ball out to the pin a little bit quicker. So I think that's what Nebraska can do. And so I think it really comes down to what Bergen Riley and what the passing to be able to put her in position to have multiple offense. So Wisconsin can't just set up on that against Nebraska's left side hitter and use their big, powerful block to slow down the offense. So I think Nebraska is equipped to do it, and it depends on their passing and if they can really run a little bit quicker offense than they have been.
Man, Lincoln, to think of Smrek at 6'9" and Jackson meeting in the middle, that would be, I mean, that's big time stuff. But there's also, I mean, there's so many things about this. Is Wisconsin's serve, Nebraska's serve receive. But if I tell you that Nebraska more than Wisconsin is going to be out of system tomorrow night, what does that mean for Nebraska's chances?
If Nebraska is out of system more, it means that Wisconsin's serving well. I mean, I think that it doesn't mean as much because Nebraska out of system is still a very good offense. I mean, Lexi Rodriguez can step in and take that second ball. And just from the outside hitters that they have, I mean, Harper Murray is great out of system. Mara Beeson can do a lot too. So I don't think that it's not as detrimental to Nebraska if they're out of system more, but I think it means that Nebraska needs to do a lot more defensively. So I mean, it may mean that we may not get as much Andy Jackson or Becca Allen, but I don't think that's, like I said, is detrimental if Nebraska is more out of system.
Lincoln, just watching Nebraska leading up to this match and give both teams credit on Wednesday. They took care of business, Wisconsin against Ohio State, Nebraska Northwestern. We've seen Nebraska every now and then maybe kind of get a little sloppy in a set here and there. You know, everybody knows Wisconsin. They haven't dropped a set in over a month. But when you look at Nebraska when they are a bit out of sorts, is there sort of a common denominator? Is there one thing that maybe not even about this matchup, but what John Cook and his coaching staff are really trying to focus in on, to even if it's not a complete fix on Saturday, it's something that's trending in the right direction by the time they get to the postseason? What would that be?
I think it's really kind of two things. One is just making sure that Nebraska's intensity is there every single point. They're not going through motions. I mean, a lot of these matches, they have way more talent than the opponent. And like the most common thing that happens is they win the first two sets and like, all right, this match is in the bag. Let's figure out if we can do anything or maybe experiment a little bit. And that kind of loses their edge and it allows the other team to gain some momentum to take it to them. So I think that is really kind of that intensity needs to match it. And then I think the biggest gripe of everyone all season has been service errors. And I think that's also a thing where if you're not mentally focused and honed in on the moment, that the errors can stack up and get away from Nebraska a little bit too. So I think that just keeping that intensity and focus is really going to be important for Nebraska. I don't think that'll be an issue against a team like Wisconsin. I think this is something that the players will really relish the opportunity and hopefully be able to focus in on every single point, and then kind of train. They've been training themselves for this moment, for like I said, maybe for the last 10 months.
Captain Obvious here. We all know Nebraska's roster is full of great players, but there's something different when you play Wisconsin and the past history and what Wisconsin means. You've kind of alluded to a couple of key players for Nebraska, and a lot of them have the tag of a freshman. You're 18 matches in. They're no longer freshmen. But you know, you've been around the sport long enough, Lincoln, when you have these moments, whether they be in Columbus, Ohio, in the NCAA championship match, and it goes 5, and it's Nebraska-Wisconsin, and people 3 years later are still talking about it. You have stars that emerge. Who, in your opinion, needs to be more than, man, they're just a really good college volleyball player. Who needs to be a star tomorrow night for Nebraska to snap this streak and vault to number 1 in the country midway through the season?
I think number 1 on my list is Harper Murray. I think that we talked a little bit about being out of system. I think Nebraska needs her to be very terminal and very kind of taking aggressive swings. She's had a little bit of a swoon the last couple of weeks too, but we saw in that last set against on Wednesday night that Harper kind of came alive with 8 kills in that final set. So I think Harper Murray is the real key. I mean, she just has the ability. She just has that little something that's different, that's extra, that special players really have. So if she can rise to the occasion and terminate a lot of balls, dig a lot, and get a lot of her serves in, I think that'll be the real key for Nebraska. If she can rise to the occasion and really put together a great performance, that will really kind of be essential for Nebraska.
John Cook in these matches, and I don't want to say we take him for granted. We just always expect this team in these moments to be so prepared, especially at home. And then there's, the John Cook history with Wisconsin before he comes to Nebraska. Mm-hmm. He never shows it, but does this one always just kind of, based on your experience with him, does this one kind of get his attention more, especially kind of personally?
Oh, for sure, yes. I think when we were talking to him this week too, I mean, the fact that he was underselling this so much kind of put off the alarms. Like, he's overtly trying to make this not a big deal, which then in turn makes it a big deal. So I think, it means a little something to him. And I think when he first came into the Big Ten, it was always Penn State. Nebraska's chasing Penn State. That has changed over the last 5-6 years to now it's Wisconsin's the measuring stick. So I think John Cook really takes that into his frame of mind and kind of preparing that this is the measuring stick match. This is what Nebraska is building itself to. And not to the point where it's going to be a letdown, but this is a chance for Nebraska to prove what it's made of, what its capabilities are, and its real potential for the season.
How would you describe this rivalry, either between John and Kelly Sheffield, the head coach of Wisconsin, or just Nebraska volleyball against Wisconsin volleyball? Is this a competitive, friendly, or is this kind of these two programs don't like each other? How would you describe this rivalry?
I think that there's a lot of mutual respect for each other, but I think they enjoy nothing more than beating one another. So I don't know if that's teetering on the edge of animosity, but I think at the end of the day, they realize that volleyball is still kind of in its emerging kind of getting into the mainstream. So they realize that there's no point in trashing other programs. They were both doing something great, doing something that's good for the sport of volleyball, but they love nothing more than to beat each other's brains in and get those bragging right. So I think that there is a little bit of, I don't know if animosity is the right word, but there's some tension and maybe some one to make sure that you're the one that has bragging rights that comes out on top too. So there's I don't know if it's hatred again too, but there's some strong feelings. They want to win. They don't like losing against the other team.
Well, and to that point, Lincoln, look, there are so many important pieces for Nebraska in this matchup. I want to bring up a name just because of, again, kind of that rivalry feel where if things are going well and you've got sort of that catalyst. Becca Alec, like just kind of watching her, she's got confidence. She's not afraid to kind of throw it back in the other team's face a little bit. Dare I say, even a little trash talk. In a game like this, especially if you ride the momentum in Nebraska is on a heater at some point. Like, just her presence in games this, how big is that?
Yes, I think when I think of Becca Alec, I think of swagger. She definitely has that. She brings that intensity and well, I would say quiet confidence, but with Becca, it's not quiet confidence. It's very loud. She definitely brings that, and that braggadocious kind of talk to it. So I think that's kind of the attitude. And then on top of Becca, Lainey Troboy, also one of the loudest players on the court too. But they're doing it in a way that's kind of instilling that confidence. And it's not, like you said, it's not really trash talk, but it's just like, I'm bringing my best. You better bring your best if you want to top that. It's that competitive spirit that, again, it's not malicious. They're just out there competing. They're competitors that want to have fun. This is how they express themselves. So I think, they're so fun to watch, and Nebraska feeds off of that. And I'm sure Becca Alec is probably one of those players that other opponents just hate. They get under her. She gets under their skin, and can't believe she's been at Nebraska for 12 years and things like that. But she's part of the reason that makes volleyball fun to watch.
Great stuff, Lincoln. Always appreciate your work. There'll be a lot of people that'll be jealous of the seat that you have tomorrow night. It should be great. It's great for the sport. It's been a great season so far for the sport of volleyball, and Nebraska has much a place in it. Can't wait for tomorrow night. Thank you, as always, for your time.
You bet. Don't be too jealous. I'm pretty close to those standing room tickets, but I'll be in the building, so I'll be excited.
It just won't cost you $250 to get in the building to stand.
Definitely, for sure. I'll take that. So win. So thanks for having me on, guys. Appreciate it.
See you,
Lincoln Arneal from Huskers Illustrated. Now, Wisconsin will not be intimidated by the atmosphere, but you can make it very uncomfortable. Their head coach has got a punchable face. They're a very unlikable group. Okay, they have owned Nebraska. There is no doubt they've owned Nebraska. But you have an opportunity, and I know you don't want to go all in on this because you could face them three times.
Absolutely.
You're going to face them another time. But tomorrow night is an opportunity where you have the palace of volleyball to make it super uncomfortable on Wisconsin. And I know people will respond in kind. Usually that's a crowd that is a little bit older. But you know what? You can sleep all day on Sunday. All right? Just load up. You're coming in there as a silver slugger. Load up on an energy drink. Stop by your favorite CBD place. Get after it.
And Bonefish will be there on Wednesday. You mentioned the Silver Sluggers, so. No, that's what, and I've been talking all about, like, how does this measuring stick wise for Nebraska, because they usually get those non-conference ones, and then even if they lose, you usually see John Cook and his teams be able to learn so well from that. And then if they were to face, say, a Florida again, they lose to them early in the season, then they face them later, and they're able to get the best of them because they know, okay, this is where we need to be. I've been talking a lot about that with Nebraska and Wisconsin. But I'm also, if we're going to be fair about this, you look at Wisconsin, again, they have not dropped a set since September 17th against Florida in a 5-set win.
But who have they played in the Big Ten? Look at Nebraska, who they played in the Big Ten compared to Wisconsin.
Well, but
come on, Bucky, stop.
Given the environment that they're about to go into, think about what Wisconsin stands to gain if they're able to withstand all of that and still come out on top. The psychological advantage that they probably feel that they would have going into that next date in Camp Randall, in Madison. Maybe they're going to play Camp Randall in Madison. But this is where, the reason I bring up Becca Alec is in moments like this where maybe you have the stronger team as far as like size and stuff, and you're looking for a little bit of that not back down mentality. This is where you just watch her play, and Becca Alec, and the way that she is always just kind of in the face of the other team. That stuff kind of gets you a little bit rattled. I'm curious to see, because we know it's going to have its ebbs and flows. If Nebraska kind of gets going and Becca Alec's she's kind of chirping a little bit, how does Wisconsin kind of respond to that too? Because there's a lot of things that I think Kelly Sheffield's probably looking at his team saying, okay, we're going to know a lot about what we're about and where we are right now, just as much as Nebraska too.
Hey, whatever happened to the pictures that got released on the internet?
You're going to have to be more specific on that.
Oh, I know what he's talking about.
Somebody got hacked, and all of a sudden there were a bunch of naked pictures of Wisconsin volleyball players on the internet. They ever find that person? That was a bad deal. That was not good at all. They handled it really well, but that kind of just came out and went. And you familiar with that?
No.
A couple of years ago?
Okay, no, I did not recall this.
Yeah, it was somebody did Wisconsin volleyball dirty.
No pun intended.
That hasn't that went away like quickly.
Well, good on the
Yeah,
program.
this was last fall.
Was it last fall?
Yeah, because I was here already. So,
Yeah.
and
That's why
it's
that
true.
computer got shut down, Jimmy.
That's why they moved my office.
Did you leak them?
All right. Tomorrow night is a great showcase for volleyball in a palace, and Wisconsin #1 for a reason. Nebraska #2 should be a lot of fun. The hype is real. What a day tomorrow could be.
No sit Saturday.
The headline.
Oh, the
Own
place
it,
will be out of control.
I am.
You did it
It'll be
first.
Great. That'll be great.
All right.
Last hour's around the corner. Mike Schaefer, Matt Verzal will join us here at Hy-Vee, 132nd and Dodge on 1620 The Zone.
Mornings with Sharp and Handley returns in minutes on 1620 The Zone. Now live on Twitch, YouTube, and 1620thezone.com.
The brand new Dollar General Distribution Center in Blair is now hiring. Starting wage is up to $22 per hour with benefits including medical, dental, vision, 401k, and a $2,000 sign-on bonus. Apply today by texting DG Warehouse to 25000 or online at dollargeneral.com/careers. Again, apply today by texting DG Warehouse to 25000 or online at dollargeneral.com/careers. Dollar General can't wait to have you become a team member at their brand new distribution center.
You know, if we know anything, it's that local matters. Local shops, local restaurants, even locally brewed beers. October is Drink Local Month. So the Nebraska Craft Brewers Guild is challenging beer, seltzer, and cider drinkers like you to put your palate through its paces and drink local brews. Because seriously, Nebraska is really on the cutting edge when it comes to brewers who think outside the box. And besides, you really want to be drinking what they drink over in Iowa? Didn't think so. Click nebraska.beer to find brews near you.
Each home game Friday, Hy-Vee hosts the Big Red Breakfast Buffet on 1620 The Zone. Join the unauthorized Big Red Breakfast Show live from 6 to 10 with Gary Sharp and Nick Handley, and enjoy breakfast from Hy-Vee Market Grill, featuring all your favorite breakfast food. This buffet is sure to make your day. A one-trip buffet is just $12 or all you can eat for only $15. Buffet includes scrambled eggs, party potatoes, bacon, sausage, biscuits and gravy, and assorted pastries. It's the unauthorized Big Red Breakfast at Hy-Vee home game Fridays on 1620 The Zone.
Val's Pumpkin Patch and Apple Orchard has something fun for all ages. Come take a ride on the antique cars, where the kids are the drivers. Visit our foam ball play area called the Egg Scramble. Stop by the cider mill area where you can have a drink of refreshing apple cider and taste some deliciously good barbecue at Ethan's Applewood Smokehouse. Val's has more than 50 other attractions included with admission, along with fireworks every Friday night at 9. Val's, the place to visit this fall.
If you love food, love fun, love fall, you'll love Val's Pumpkin Patch best of all.
The 13th ranked Ohio State Buckeyes are coming to town to take on your undefeated and 22nd ranked Omaha Mavericks hockey team on October 27th and 28th at Baxter Arena. You do not want to miss this top 25 matchup. Get your tickets now by calling the box office at 402-554-MAVS or by going to omavs.com/ticks. And basketball season is upon us. Get your men's and women's season tickets by calling 402-554-MAVS.
Prescriptions require an online consultation with a healthcare provider who will determine if appropriate. Restrictions apply. See website for details and important safety information. Subscription required. Price varies based on product and subscription plan.
Hey guys, did you know there's a generic form of Viagra that works just the same, but is 95% cheaper? And you can get it online? Just go to hims.com/radio. Through Hims, you'll get a free medical consultation, discreet shipping if prescribed, a 100% online process, and trusted generic alternatives to the name brands at up to 95% off. That's right. Get generic for Viagra, the same active ingredient as brand name Viagra, but for 95% less. It's the same medication, still prescribed by a licensed medical provider, but with zero copay, no expensive appointments, and no awkward face-to-face conversations. To start your free online visit, you need to go to this exclusive address, hims.com/radio. That's hims.com/radio for your free online visit. hims.com/radio.
1620 The Zone at 1620thezone.com. Now back to mornings with Sharp and Handley on 1620 The Zone.
All right, coming up on the last hour from Hy-Vee at 132nd and Dodge, where I don't know if legally we can say this.
You tread lightly. You got it.
You can enjoy your time in Memorial Stadium tomorrow on us. Wink, wink. And then you can enjoy your time at Memorial Stadium before you go into Memorial Stadium before the game. Wink, wink. And you might walk away with this great-looking Yeti cooler as well.
Look at that thing.
You have to come in here, and you have to scan the barcode. Yeah, that thing is awesome. And nobody else is giving you this kind of stuff.
What's it packing inside?
Yeah. Our good friends at Blur Parties, man, they do it well.
Enter and find out.
Yes.
We'll put a pumpkin in there.
Yeah.
Hey,
because I need to steal this pumpkin because I need one, and I don't want to have to pay for it.
It comes with a shoulder strap.
Here, put this pumpkin in.
Oh, my gosh.
Hey, don't tell
Look
Kim.
at that.
Don't tell Kim that I'm stealing a pumpkin.
This is Yeti, and it's got a shoulder strap.
See, that pumpkin would fit.
So stop in. You got an hour here to get registered, and you could be a big winner, courtesy of 1620 The Zone. Mike Schaefer joins us next. Thoughts on recruiting? Because Nebraska was busy this weekend, and there may be a flip involved as well. Plus, we'll get his thoughts on what's going to happen tomorrow at 2:30. Great weather for Nebraska Northwestern to celebrate the 100th anniversary. You're bringing me a knife? Whoa. Is that a real knife?
That's what you can
a
carve
big
a pumpkin
red knife.
with. Now we're
What
going to
if I
find
just
out
stabbed it?
about your carving ability.
There we go. All right, there you go.
It started.
That's odd. They just gave me a knife.
They roll out the red carpet.
They not only have a friendly smile in every aisle, they'll hook you up with weapons at Hy-Vee.
You were talking so much, though, about your ability to carve. Now it's go time.
All right, I'll do it in the break.
It's go
All right?
time, man.
I will so people here on the stream can see it. I'll do it in the break.
Okay.
No? All right. Shafe's coming up next. Last hour of Mornings with Sharp and Handley from Hy-Vee at 132nd. Come on, Kim. It's all for the show. Saturdays are for the boys. Fridays for us. On 1620 The Zone.
Mornings with Sharp and Handley returns in minutes on 1620 The Zone. Live from the Host Coffee Studio, this is 1620 The Zone. 1620 The Zone. Traffic.
From the Zoom Drain Time-Saving Traffic Center, we have one accident to report southbound along the JFK at Lake Street, and that's going to be backed up all the way to the Stores Expressway, and you can expect delays of up to 20 minutes in that area. On Dodge, be prepared for a little bit of slowdown from 80th to 72nd, and on L, it looks like you're going to see a lot more traffic from 96th to 83rd. As always, remember to stay safe and wear your seatbelts. I'm Chris Scott. This time-saving traffic was brought to you by Signworks.
Since 1935, businesses all around Omaha have trusted one sign company with their visual branding, Signworks. We design, manufacture, and install signs of all kinds, including high-tech message centers like the new installation at Steelhouse Omaha. We can make your sign too. Signworksomaha.com.
Hey folks, Kent Pavelka again to tell you about your local concrete experts at Everlevel Concrete Repair. Now, if you have cracked, uneven concrete, Everlevel can fix it at a fraction of the cost compared to replacement. This is no Band-Aid. Their products are built to last. It gives your concrete the durable protection it needs, and there's still time. I chose Everlevel for my driveway, and I've got peace of mind with their long-term transferable warranty. Everlevel's products and customer service are top-notch, and that's why they've been voted Best of Omaha again this year. Say it with me. Everlevel, Everlevel, Everlevel.
It's game day at Jim's house, and the spread is impressive.
Mike's already done some damage with the hot wings, and now he's dropping back and going deep for another slice of pizza.
I sure hope he brought the Pepto.
Mike knows the Pepto-Bismol provides fast 5-symptom relief from unexpected stomach upsets. He's no rookie.
The way he's throwing back those nachos, he's the GOAT.
Be ready for game day with Pepto-Bismol.
When you have nausea, heartburn, indigestion, upset stomach, diarrhea.
Use as directed. Keep out of reach of children.
Email us on the Equitable inbox with whatever is on your mind. The Zone inbox is brought to you by Equitable Bank. We take banking personally. You can hit me up, agree, disagree, tell me your thoughts on life at Handley at 1620thezone.com. We want to hear from you on the Equitable Bank Zone inbox.
Creighton Sports Update. The 2023 home regular season comes to a close for Creighton men's and women's soccer this weekend. Join us at Morrison Stadium for a pair of senior days. First, with the men's team competing tomorrow versus the Yukon Huskies at 2:30 p.m. The women's senior day will take place on Sunday against the Xavier Musketeers at 1 p.m. Come celebrate the senior classes for both programs by purchasing your tickets today at gocreighton.com/buy.
1620 The Zone proudly supports Creighton Athletics.
Meet Bruce.
Hey there.
He's a busy soccer dad who's trying hard to learn the game.
Go for the end zone.
Whoops. Luckily, other things come easy, like banking with Chase. On a tip from his banker, he set up AutoSafe in the Chase mobile app. So what are you saving for, Bruce?
Father-daughter soccer camp.
Smart bankers, convenient tools. One bank with the power of both. Visit chase.com/checking. Chase, make more of what's yours.
Autosave requires a Chase checking and savings account. Chase mobile app is available for select mobile devices. Message and data rates may apply. JP Morgan Chase Bank and a member FDIC. Here's today's Husker Max Practice Report, brought to you by Tickets for Less on 1180 and 1620 The Zone.
Husker football head coach Matt Rule said that Malachi Coleman, Jaden Doss, and Jalen Lloyd are ready to make an impact against Northwestern.
Great week of practice. Great, really 2 weeks. And well, they're ready to go. I mean, there's. I know this. I mean, they might be young, right? But they're as fast as any group of receivers in the country. So not very often you have 10-3, 10-4 guys out there.
Rule said he wants his team to play with the same grit the Wildcats play with.
I want our team to be just like Northwestern team is. Like, I want us fighting every week for each other and for what we want, not for the things that come with winning, but to win and be a good football team. So you need to play teams like Northwestern that are doing the same thing, because it's a barometer in your soul of, hey, how tough are we?
For The Zone, I'm Matt McMaster.
The Husker Max Practice Report, brought to you by Tickets for Less on 1180 and 1620 The Zone.
Attention all Nebraska Huskers football fans. Get ready for an electrifying season of college football with Tickets for Less. Experience the thrill of the game and witness the power of a new era under our exciting new head coach. And here's the best part. Use promo code THEZONE to score incredible savings on your Husker tickets from Tickets for Less. Whether you're cheering from the stands at Memorial or plan to catch a game on the road, Tickets for Less has the seats you need. Don't miss out on this opportunity to be part of the Huskers journey. Visit ticketsforless.com and use promo code THEZONE today.
Let it fly. Your elevated sports bar experience. KOZN Bellevue, Omaha, Council Bluffs. This is 1620 The Zone. And we're back. Mornings with Sharp and Handley. Here's Gary, Nick, and Jimmy on 1620 The Zone.
All right, last hour of a football Friday Fiesta. Big thanks to everybody here at Hy-Vee at 132nd and Dodge. They are wonderful people. They have been so helpful. Everybody is smiling. They're having a good time, whether they be in the back cooking or out here with us. Jimmy, Nick, and Gary, mornings with Sharp and Handley. And Mike Schaefer, who is always, I think, nice to us, smiles, greets us with a, every day.
He's good people.
Husker 24/7. On Twitter, Mike J. Schaefer. He joins us now from his car. Hello, Mike.
Hey, how are we doing?
Good. I just got drilled by a football. I was doing well until then.
It was a shovel pass.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, you got to be head on a swivel when you're on the remote.
Yeah, that's true.
Hey, we're gonna go kind of quick here because there's a lot of topics, but I've been waiting all week to ask you this because this has been an interesting week for Nebraska in recruiting. Should we read into offers for junior college wide receivers?
Yeah, I mean, read into them in the sense that they're definitely going to pursue every avenue to add talent to the team. I think some of it is you want to take a shot on adding a little more veteran experience. Because if you think about it, if Marcus Washington doesn't get a waiver, if Billy Kemp's going to be gone, Isaiah Garcia-Castaneda likely gone, Xavier Betts is already gone. I mean, you're down to Alex Bullock and Hahn and these freshman wide receivers already. So you need to start spacing some things out so you can't just go get all freshmen. And then I think Trey Richardson is the more interesting one to me. And that offer feels as much to get a special teams ace as it does for his ability as a wide receiver. I think they would be happy to utilize him as a wide receiver, but they really love what he can do as a kick returner and a punt returner. That's Trey Richardson from Hutchinson Community College.
Shafe, one of my favorite law enforcement individuals was freaking out on Saturday when I saw him at the UNO hockey game saying, oh my gosh, I think we're losing Carter Nelson because he was at the Notre Dame game. And it sounds like that was just a visit. What did you make about their interest in Notre Dame still in the fight for Carter Nelson?
They're definitely still in the fight because I think the family has a lot of respect for Notre Dame and Mark Freeman and how they've gone about this process, and they like them. They clearly were out there last weekend. I feel right now on October, whatever this is, let's say it's the 20th, I feel like
it is.
Nebraska is still in a really good spot. Like I would be surprised if Carter Nelson were to flip. I think Matt Rule's done a nice job. He really likes the staff. He's going to be back in Lincoln tomorrow. The family, I think, loves the idea of Carter staying home. So as much as they like Notre Dame, I have a tough time seeing this thing flip because I think he really likes what Matt Rule is doing. I think he likes what he's seeing from Thomas Fedoni. I know from talking to him a few weeks ago, he's excited about, even though Nebraska's offense doesn't seem like it would be enticing to recruits. If you think about it from how they perceive things, he sees opportunity. He sees that they need someone that can help in the red zone. He thinks he can be that guy. I mean, so I think he's very excited about Nebraska still. And for those reasons, I think it's going to be hard for Notre Dame to flip them. But they've done a really nice job, and you have to tip the cap to them.
Speaking of a flip, and Nebraska was the first on him, should we be on flip alert for Callan Barta, the cornerback from Topeka?
Yeah, it feels like it's taken a couple years, but Kansas State is finally going to exact their revenge for Gage Stenger. It's right around the same time, same month. Nebraska went out and it offered Gage Stenger, who had been committed to Kansas State for a while, in October of, I want to say 21. And he was able to get that. It might have been 2020. He was able to get that commitment from him. I think Callan Barta is probably going to flip this weekend. He's going to be a Kansas State game. He's been really good this year. This is not an insignificant loss for Nebraska because I think they clearly evaluated well. They saw a guy that can be very helpful on either side of the ball. And I think going to miss out on him would be my guess. But we'll see how they recover with it.
Also, I know I asked you about him last week, and I'm just curious if this is a week-to-week thing or if this is something that is also kind of like Barta maybe trending in the wrong direction. Kwan Lacey, the running back commit, is that continuing to be a pretty fluid situation as far as you can see?
As far as I know, still committed to Nebraska, still going to get a bunch of attention from SEC schools. This probably is going to go into November where it's going to feel a little topsy-turvy. We'll see if Nebraska is able to kind of hammer that thing home. E.J. Barthel went to Lancaster, almost said it the wrong way, Lancaster, this past week. So, they're doing what they can, but ultimately it's going to have to be, where does he want to go? And if you're him and you look at Nebraska's running back room, you're not going to find better opportunity at a Power 5 school that wants to run the football. I mean, that's the other thing. Like, Nebraska is desperate for running backs that want to run the football. I think they're going to have to go into the portal. And they should be a school that, if you're a running back, you should want to go to Nebraska right now. Like, they're trying to run the ball. They need guys that can run the ball. I think Kwan Lacey, that's the biggest pitch to him besides his relationship with the staff, and that's why I feel okay right now. But we'll see if his name starts popping up on visits.
Hey, I know this is down the road and trying to do the numbers. Nebraska is going to have to do some scholarship dancing, correct? If you're looking at, they're still working on this class, and there isn't many guys that, are going to be out of eligibility.
Yeah, I think what you're going to see is some transfers out because they know that they're ultimately not the plans or they're not going to fit with what's happening here, or Nebraska maybe used an offer on them last year and it's obvious after 1 year that this level isn't right for them. So you're going to see some guys move on that have eligibility. But what you're also going to see is if there are people that can stick around, I think this is where the NILs and the collectives can be most valuable for how Matt Rule wants things to go right now. And that's basically to allow them to lengthen out the scholarships by having NIL scholarships. And I wouldn't be at all surprised if a guy like Ramir Johnson's able to come back if you don't take his scholarship, but you put him on an NIL package that covers him for that and a little bit more if everyone doesn't win in that scenario. And that's, they're already doing it right now to a smaller level. It would strike me as odd if they don't continue that practice moving forward. And so I think it wouldn't be shocking if it feels like Nebraska has 95 guys on scholarship, but there's really just 10 that are on this NIL thing.
Hey, one final thing on recruiting before we get into Nebraska Northwestern. The whole crystal ball world. You've talked about him. You've talked to him in person. You've seen him play in person. We're talking about Grant Brix. Isn't it a fruitless exercise, Shafe, to try and anybody read into anything about him and decide where he's going to go to school? Because he doesn't really say much, but now we got an Oklahoma crystal ball. People are freaking out. I mean, isn't this a fruitless exercise until he's the one that tells you where he's going?
It feels that way to me, but also just from checking around, it feels like a lot of circular confirmation on Oklahoma. Like I don't know that it's a. It feels like because of the one prediction that has come in, has prompted the avalanche of the reaction to it, and then that only emboldens the initial prediction of it, but the evidence isn't necessarily coming from Brix and stuff. So I don't know. I mean, everyone can make their own predictions that they want. I still view this thing as very much in play for Nebraska. But I also understand why Oklahoma would be the choice. I mean, he really likes that coach, the offensive line coach, Bill Benden or whatever. You know, they're having a great season. I thought Oklahoma would struggle this year, and I thought that would end up helping Nebraska. But the other thing that Nebraska's going for it, everything Matt Rule has largely told him that he thought would happen with this team has played out, and the culture is being set. I know the Brix family really likes that. They like what they heard from Matt Rule. And proximity. There's just nothing that's better than the proximity Nebraska can offer. And until he makes that decision, I'm always going to have Nebraska in the back of my mind with Grant Brix, because the way he talks about Matt Rule, the way he talks about that program, and how much family means to him, it's just hard for me to see him going to Oklahoma. But maybe sometimes he's just telling me what he thinks I want to hear. I don't care where he goes. But sometimes there's recruits who feel like they're projecting to you what they think you want to hear. And sometimes I feel like Grant could be that guy.
Shafe, you are one of the most positive people I've ever met in my life. That I need to ask you, especially when it comes to your Vikings. But as Nebraska comes out of the bye week, and keeping to the theme of positivity, to assume that there will be an area that looks improved from the last time we saw this team that Friday night in Champaign, Illinois. Mike Schaefer, what do you expect to look the most improved tomorrow afternoon?
It'll be a couple reasons for this, but I think the bye week allows them to sort of tailor the offense a little bit more to Heinrich Harburg than what it was when he got thrown in against Colorado and has been in ever since. You got a little extra time to kind of figure out what he likes to do, how you can utilize that. But beyond that, I think Nebraska will run the ball better against Northwestern than they did against Illinois. I don't necessarily think that it means that they're just going to be a better rushing offense for the final 6 games, but they didn't run well against Illinois from a couple plays. I think they will do that better against Northwestern and Purdue coming up. We'll see if it lasts all season into the Wisconsin-Iowa game as well. But I look for them to run the ball better on Saturday.
What do you look for the defense to do better or improve on in the second half of the season?
More takeaway. I actually think it's kind of getting there a little bit. I mean, we saw it in the Illinois game. You had some guys flying around. You had some great individual plays. My oddly specific prediction this week is a Quentin Newsom follow-up interception. It took him forever to get the first, and now the second's going to be the game right after. I think they'll have a few takeaways in this game against Northwestern. I think they can do it again against Purdue and Michigan State. I think the takeaways are going to go up for Nebraska's defense in these final 6 games.
Shafe, do you, again, and this kind of goes back to what do we learn the most from this team here in the second half? The coaching has been discussed a lot as far as the offense, and I'm not saying it's not justified, but also not to the tune of, hey, does anybody have their job on the line? But who do you think on this coaching staff is going to have the most eyeballs on them?
It's got to be Marcus Satterfield. I mean, until this offense looks like a well-oiled machine, you're going to have naysayers and detractors, people that are pissed that he makes up $1.4 million, and everyone talking about how South Carolina was excited to see him go. Let's look at South Carolina's record real quickly, shall we? So like it's one of those things where I think he's always going to be a bit of a marked man within the fan base until he's not. And one of the things that Brunt pointed out to me pretty early in the season that I think still remains true, the Illinois game does not help this. Nebraska's offense has played better in the second half of every game. He's made adjustments. They didn't finish against Illinois, but they had a chance to really put up points. And so that makes me think he can adjust in season too. South Carolina finished well last year. I think Nebraska's offense will finish better because of some of the adjustments that Marcus Satterfield and Matt Rule and that staff will put together.
Mike Schaefer from Husker 24/7 joining us. I'll get you out on this. So I think the offense, kind of what it is, if you're looking for more explosive plays. But do you foresee on special teams, because the FEI is not kind to Nebraska's special teams as a whole, 110th nationally, do you foresee any explosive plays from the special teams in the upcoming future?
See, I think this is why they offered that Dickerson guy. I just don't think they like what their options are there at returner beyond Tommy Hill. And I think Tommy Hill is one of those guys where you cover one eye and you keep one just kind of slightly open because you're scared. But he has the ability to be explosive, to make big plays, just like he has the ability to be combustible. And so I don't know that a big punt return is coming from Billy Kemp. I don't know that a big kick return is coming from Tommy Hill. So I think for Nebraska, they're just going to have to manage with what they have. The loss of Ramir Johnson took away their best kick return option. I don't know that there's really a close second.
Shafe, we appreciate it. Have a good Friday. Good stuff. You were at Bellevue West last night for their senior night for the trio that are committed to Nebraska. That's good stuff on Husker 24/7. We'll talk to you and see you tomorrow.
All right. Sounds good. See you guys. Have a good one.
It's Mike Schaefer from Husker 24/7. We're just going to have to work through the stuff with Tristan Alvano, but I agree with Shafe. You will get a sense here, I think this week, next week, when we get to portal season, on what they identify as weaknesses that they think they can fix right away. Yeah. But one of the wide receivers offered is more strictly a special teams guy. That's where he makes a living. And it's a Nebraska thing, man. We talk about, man, they're going to return kicks and it's going to be all different and we're not going to fair catch and all this stuff. And then what it goes back to is something we're used to.
Yeah.
And that is non-explosive plays out of special teams.
Yes, securing the football has become the staple of just being able to make that fair catch and not lose yards, where you see other teams, it's like, hey, you can actually turn the ball upfield. We did have DeMornay Pearsonell at one point doing that. The days of DeJuan Gross, there were memories of such things happening. And, and quickly on the special teams front, Matt Rule spoke yesterday. I did like his response about Tristan Alvano as a freshman who's going through it, but you're not worried, because I think it's kind of maybe even somewhat of a lazy take that when you see a kicker, and I remember with Connor Culp, when you return from the COVID year where he was all Big Ten, and then all of a sudden he can't hit anything through the uprights. I said, is it as simple as there weren't fans in the stands and now there are? Like, try to figure that out. And you start, it's always maybe kind of the lazy thing to go to, well, the guy's got the yips. It's a mental thing. I don't think anybody was necessarily going there with Tristan Alvano. It was more of when can he sort of break through, and then once he does. But I thought Matt Rule gave you a pretty good breakdown of just how he's approached it, to where they're not even really batting an eye or even overly concerned that this is something that's going to bog him down, that all of a sudden he loses his confidence. So I think, and again, looking for things in the second half, especially when it comes to special teams. And the reason I bring it up is because you brought up Tristan Alvano as one of your top three to most important, which I think you can make a very good case for. I thought that was very encouraging to hear how they kind of view Tristan Alvano in the first half and what they expect in the second half.
I've heard it mentioned a couple of times. He could be on the Drew Brown path. Remember, Drew Brown as a freshman struggled kicking the ball. Sophomore, junior, senior, he was fine.
Yeah, you go through it, and then once you kind of start to get more consistency, all of a sudden that confidence is sky high. And then and it probably, and Matt Rule kind of alluded to it, it probably even makes you a better kicker after you get through it too, because you've already gone through that struggle.
Yep. Coming up next, Matt Verzal from Hy-Vee on 1620 The Zone.
Gary Sharp, Nick Handley, and Jimmy Chavez. Mornings with Sharp and Handley. Weekdays 6 to 10 on 1620 The Zone and 1620thezone.com. Mornings on 1620 The Zone is brought to you by MD West One Orthopedics, Neurosurgery, and Spine. Previously on Unsportsmanlike Conduct.
My 6-year-old asked me this the other day, and I still don't have the answer. What is the opposite of medium?
The opposite of medium. Oh, my God.
I don't have an answer.
I'm going to Google it. I've never Googled during dumb debates, but I'm going to. I'm getting no answers.
That word does not have an opposite.
Unsportsmanlike Conduct with John Bishop and Josh Peterson. Weekdays 2 to 6 on 1620 The Zone. Your Omaha area forecast, presented by Bellevue Berry and Pumpkin Ranch, from the KETV Newswatch 7 Weather Center on 1620 The Zone.
Bright, warm, and a bit breezy for your Friday, with a high in Omaha today of 80 degrees, southwesterly winds up to 15 miles an hour. Expect very high fire danger into the afternoon. Clearing cool tonight, a low near 50 with winds out of the northwest up to 15 miles an hour. Staying mild and bright as we head into the start of the weekend, a high on Saturday of 67. I'm meteorologist Caitlin Harvey with KETV Newswatch 7.
The brand new Dollar General Distribution Center in Blair is now hiring. Starting wage is up to $22 per hour with benefits including medical, dental, vision, 401k, and a $2,000 sign-on bonus. Apply today by texting DG Warehouse to 25000 or online at dollargeneral.com/careers. Again, apply today by texting DG Warehouse to 25000 or online at dollargeneral.com/careers. Dollar General can't wait to have you become a team member at their brand new distribution center.
Meet Bruce.
Hey there.
He's a busy soccer dad who's trying hard to learn the game.
Go for the end zone.
Whoops. Luckily, other things come easy, like banking with Chase. On a tip from his banker, he set up AutoSave in the Chase mobile app. So what are you saving for, Bruce?
Father-daughter soccer camp.
Smart bankers, convenient tools, one bank with the power of both. Visit chase.com/checking. Chase, make more of what's yours.
AutoSave requires a Chase checking and savings account. Chase mobile app is available for select mobile devices. Message and data rates may apply. JP Morgan Chase Bank and a member FDIC.
Hey everyone, Josh Peterson here for my friends at Union Omaha. Once again, a regular season champ. The first team to do it twice in USL League One. They enter the postseason on a 14-match winning streak, and they will be playing again on Saturday, October 28th at 4:30. You can buy tickets right now at unionomaha.com. Do not miss out on this great opportunity as they return home to Warner Park on Saturday the 28th. Buy the tickets at unionomaha.com.
Now back to mornings with Sharp and Handley on 1620 The Zone.
Every day I'm hustling.
Matt Versa.
You know, Matt, he's a tremendous athlete.
Matt Versa.
All right, Matt, thank you very much.
Every day
I just want everybody to know, even though he looked just gorgeous on Big Red Wrap Up the other day, he is a radio man at heart. It is Matt Verzal. Nicely done. Welcome. Good morning. How are you?
Went with the home whites.
Morning, boys. Yeah, I real quick, gotta get some housekeeping out of the way. I have failed you guys. I thought I raised or helped raise my as a little brother who was a little tougher. And I thought that she was very offended by the fact that I called her a lunatic. So I apologize to my sister Megan. I love you. I thought you were much tougher than that. So now that that's done, yeah, I am. I have a face for radio. So I love doing it. It's a ton of fun. But if they could just keep the camera on everybody but me, I would feel a lot better. And I told Doc Panitz and I had up, and so his wife Nicole and he got me into Invisalign, so Dr. B and Audra. So I've had Invisalign. It's been about 17 years since I've had these Invisaligns. Well, I had a tooth up front. I hung on and Christmas, and I was like, here with this. These are much straighter than they've ever been. I can kind of about this little Lloyd Christmas tooth. Doc P said, nope, we're going to jam, call them things, crowns on there. Well, I chew. I don't know if anybody knew that, but I enjoy smokeless tobacco, so my teeth have a little yellow hue to them. So when Doc put these two crowns on, my other two crowns that are going to match my teeth color aren't in yet. But these babies are like white. Like they are cracker white. And so I'm trying to cover up these two white buck teeth I got. Talking with my matte lip over my teeth. I was like, nobody said anything, so I must have pulled it off. But yeah, it was fun. It was there and talk to, the Nebraska Encyclopedia, Mike Babcock, and get Jay Moore to go at her a little bit and see Michael's always good. So it was fun. I have a good time with that and hope to get to do it some more.
So is that the reason behind the home whites then? Was to kind of offset the pearly whites on the teeth?
That was not, but
okay.
The stars kind of aligned. I had a jacket, and you run over to see my guy Lindley, and he I walk in, I'm like, okay, here's what I need. He goes, here's what you really need. He goes, why don't you go check out that blazer rack over there? He goes, got some stuff on sale. And I had been looking for a tannish colored jacket for quite a while. walk over, and he said, "Here you go, big boy." And I was like, sugar. I was like, this is going to cost me some money. And he said, half off. And I was like, well, we're getting in the ballpark. I said, no, I got to give you half the kidney. And then he said, for you, I'll do this. And I was like, that's a bet, buddy. Here, take my money. I'm out of here. So, yeah, it all worked out, and it was good to get on there. I'm a bye-week guy. I'm not a big game guy. I'm bye-week Burzall.
That's what we're going to start calling you.
It's bye-week Burzall.
Okay, so
I'm surprised Louisiana Tech I didn't get. I usually get like those. A directional school.
Okay. So when Western Michigan's on the schedule next time, okay.
Oh, book it. I'll be there.
You know your role so well. All right, so into a bye week with a win, coming out of a bye week with some tempting things in front of you, what is the bare minimum that you expect to see tomorrow out of this team?
Clean. Like clean sheet. No turnovers, no false starts. No like maturity.
Mm-hmm.
Like, hey, we've made progress. We belong. We're doing what we're doing because we're getting better. That would be big for me, because you're to a point where it's like, okay, boys, it may not be the 3 we thought we were going to win, but we still got 3 of them. And if we get 3 more, we get to go potentially to Vegas. Like I said on here a couple times, Nebraska will turn Vegas upside down. Like they will. Whew, Vegas, you think you got it? There're going to be a bunch of Nebraskans, a lot of cash in hand. So those ladies, Rhino, better be ready, because there's some folks coming. So
the offensive line was discussed on Monday, and then a little bit also on Tuesday with Marcus Satterfield about just the overall group. And this kind of goes back to what we talked about last week. He talked about the cohesiveness as the unit as opposed to maybe the individual. I know you look at this a lot with this group, and it's easy to say, hey, inconsistency, the group hasn't looked good. Have you seen anything just from, if we're evaluating the group itself, that you would say, okay, that is starting to look better? Is there any area that you kind of look at and say, okay, this is starting to look better, or at least the light is starting to turn on?
I think a good, insulate, that's the value of an off week. We can all come inside and insulate, right? Now, about it, I get it. They're probably trying to build a little confidence in the fellas. But the next time I hear Rule or Satterfield or Raiola talk about it, I want my eyes to agree with them. Like I want to agree, because them having to talk about it, my eyes saying, well, it's not quite there yet. I'm going to need to see it. And then that will be a good feeling. If we get in this and they say it, and my eyeballs like, hey, agree, let's roll. This is going in the right direction.
How much of a difference would mixing in a little tempo do for this offense?
It can help. Here's why I like it, because it eliminates thinking. I think we overanalyze too much.
Mm-hmm.
The players, they're thinking just a little too much. The fact that they're a little jumpy, like a hound trying to pass the peach pit. If you're going tempo and then you jump offside, the next is kind of counteract.
Mm-hmm.
If there's something about it, and this is a lot of the conversation this week of, all right, if we're going to see something that looks different with this offense, and we know that this offense is still going to be a run-based offense, we know that the quarterback going forward, at least for now, is going to be Heinrich Harburg. How he maybe looks different running the football, the running back situation between Anthony Grant and Emmett Johnson, how they kind of attack the second half of the season. If there is something that maybe looks different, or the way that you think that they will go about trying to solidify that running identity with this offense, is there anything that you're kind of anticipating here in the second half?
I think you focus on the ones you're good at, right? Now you could, rumor mill is flying that you're going to see some old school, gangster type runs from back in the day. Good with that because the scheme still works to this day, and it eliminates a lot of the fancy verbiage and we got to do this and this is called this now and this minute situation that might happen once every 47 plays is going to change our blocking scheme. I think that is eliminated and the rules have become much simpler. I'm in with that because I think when they do run it, their plays are very well designed. And now if we can master that and execute those at a very high level, when you're good at 5 or 6 of them, have begged for this for years, you don't need much more. You get 5 or 6 that you're great at, you block them against any front, thinking is eliminated, now physical talent factors in. And you go, and rhythm, like stay in a play calling rhythm. If you are able to run it, then you are running play action pass. You're not running 3-step drop pass. And now safeties get antsy, linebackers get antsy. They forget about a tight end. You've got some guys now that possess some speed on the outside with their young receivers that are going to go. So if you want to, play action pass and throw the hell out of it downfield to the kids that run 10-3, 10-4. You may not complete it. He in the corner have to be aware of it, that you can throw it over their head. And then, every now and then one falls in your hands and you catch it and you get a big play.
Hey, quickly on that, what should we expect with these freshman wide receivers that are now being forced on the field? We've wondered why it's taken them half the season to get on the field. Now they're going to be on the field. What's the expectation for a Coleman, Dawson, Lloyd as a group?
To thrive. Like your path has changed due to portal and injury. You playing high school football where it's like go out, run fast, pass that guy that can't run as fast as you can. That is gone. You have to be a student of the game and you have to understand, hey, is that safety going to roll to me? And if he does roll to me, do I still execute at max effort to make sure that they both are trying to cover me so now my buddy is open? Do I open up the field for the tight end? Do I open up the field because of my speed, my God-given ability, for a swing pass out of the backfield to a running back that now has a one-on-one matchup with a linebacker? And it's advantage Nebraska. Can I do my job even though I know coverage is coming to me? Or if I know coverage is coming to me, do I half-ass it and now I've really screwed everybody? But it isn't just go out and run fast. It's go out and read the defense, adjust it, and run fast.
Hey, congratulations on the end of the regular season for Scott. Rolling into the postseason's the best time of the year. Good win last night. That's a good gross football program. And good luck next week finding out when the bracket comes out Saturday what Scott's path is to Memorial Stadium.
Thanks, buddy. Yeah, that's a Nosbush kid over at Grove. 14. Can't wait. I mean, he's not the biggest guy out there. He might be the baddest guy out there. Like that dude's tough. But yeah, Gross does a great job. They're always them South O boys are about that life. They want all the smoke and then some. It was a fun game and hard hitting, and we're happy to win and get the chance to go to the playoffs.
Yep, and should be in as the number 2 seed. Verz, thanks. Have a great weekend.
I think you might need to redo your numbers. I think Waverly will be the 2, we'll be the 3.
Oh, that's right. Waverly is already in as the 2. You'll be the 3.
According to the prognosticator. I don't even understand why people do that. That seems like the most frustrating thing in the world.
Well, you go and meet some people in Class A right now trying to do all the math to avoid a number 1 seed.
Why though? Just go swing and see what happens.
Hey, I'm right there with you. That's what I say, but they always say get lost. Yeah. No. Hey, we'll check you out on Husker Hangover on Sunday. Thanks again for your time.
Yeah, boys.
That's Matt Verzal. You can follow him on Twitter at Verz51. Yeah, Scott will be the 3. Bennington 1. Waverly number 2.
There was
A will be West Side 1, Millard South 2. 3 is up for grabs tonight.
Jimmy Simons, when he used to coach baseball at West Side, we didn't even need the NSAA. If we needed to know where wild card points were, we're like, hey, Jimmy, do you know where we are? Like he would, not just West Side, he would know every team. Like,
map it out.
Hey, Jimmy, we won a little bit ago. Can you plug that in real quickly? Jimmy was, talk about a beautiful mind.
I don't think I've ever called Coach Simons Jimmy.
No, we refer to him as.
Am I allowed to call him Jimmy?
That's how we refer to him in baseball.
I always call him. I call him Jim, but Coach.
Yeah. Jim Simons. We just call him. Some of his old players would refer to him as Jimmy. My buddy Aaron Behringer now with Millard North High School.
People don't know Jim Simons, basketball coach currently at Westside. Baseball was his first.
Yes, and he was there with some of the great teams with Bob Greco. Some of the most phenomenal. Darren Ruff. We had some great battles with them in 04 and 05. Then they got us in 06. And then Jimmy, he was Bob's right-hand man.
And then somebody stopped him and said, you look like Mike Krzyzewski. Maybe you ought to coach basketball. And that's what he did.
Well, it was weird. Like when I went to Columbus and then we played West Side once, and I remember not seeing Coach Simons in the dugout when we played Bobby. And I said, where's Coach Simons? Because he's doing the basketball thing now. I'm like, wait, when did this happen?
All right, we'll finish with bold predictions. I think you already know what our prediction is for the game. We'll do all that as we put a wrap on another Big Red Unauthorized Breakfast. How you doing, ma'am? Oh, the ladies back there, they've been here all morning.
Yeah.
They're like, what was the 9 to 5? Those 3 ladies all could play the role of the ladies from 9 to 5.
Are they plotting?
Right there back in the corner.
Are they plotting something against the boss?
No. They're just having a good time.
Okay, good.
We'll be back to wrap it up here at Hy-Vee on 132nd and Dodge. Don't forget, we will tell you where we'll be next Friday. Also in the last segment of the mornings.
It'll be a Hy-Vee
with Sharp and Handley at 1620 The Zone.
Mornings with Sharp and Handley on 1620 The Zone and 1620thezone.com with Gary Sharp and Nick Handley.
We're going abroad for the first time in years to Spain.
But we don't speak Spanish.
So we started using Babbel.
And started learning Spanish fast.
With Babbel, you can start having conversations in another language in just 3 weeks. Babbel's conversational method teaches you real-life words and phrases. And with Babbel's interactive bite-sized lessons, you'll remember what you learned.
¿Cómo te llamas?
¿Cómo te llamas?
¿De dónde eres?
¿De dónde eres?
When you learn a language, you want to actually use it. Babbel is designed with that goal in mind.
In just 3 weeks, we're starting to have conversations in Spanish.
Estoy muy emocionado para ir a España contigo.
Aw, he just said, I'm very excited to go to Spain with you. Nos vamos a divertir mucho.
And that means we're going to have a lot of fun.
Sí. Gracias, Babbel.
Babbel, language for life. Celebrating 10 million subscriptions sold. Now try Babbel for free at Babbel.com. Just go to Babbel.com and start learning a new language today. That's Babbel.com. Babbel.com.
Equitable Bank. We take banking personally. EquitableOnline.com.
1620 The Zone's 4-quarter pick'em returns. It's your chance to win $1,620. All you have to do is correctly pick 4 college or NFL games against the spread. Listen to qualify every weekday or enter online at 1620thezone.com. One lucky listener will be selected each week to make their picks live on air.
Awesome.
Go to 1620thezone.com for complete rules and contest details. It's 4-quarter pick'em with 1620 The Zone.
Hey everyone, Josh Peterson here from Unsportsmanlike Conduct. Join John, Nick, and I at Lucky Bucket Brewing for a One Beer Friday brought to you by the Nebraska Craft Brewers Guild Friday afternoon on 1620 The Zone.
If you haven't updated your windows, you could be throwing money out the window. Don't let the cool air out. Upgrade today with J-Tech Construction. For a limited time, get 60 months with 0% interest. Plus, as an added bonus, every window gets a special rated UV upgrade for free. Save money, keep the cool air in, and be happier when you upgrade your windows with the official exterior experts of Nebraska Athletics. For more info, go to yourexteriorexperts.com. Subject to credit approval.
The pandemic is over, but COVID-19 is here to stay. In fact, it's still among the top 5 leading causes of death in the U.S., just after heart disease and cancer. So this fall, stay up to date with the latest COVID-19 vaccines, just like you do with the flu, because you've got no time for 19. The vaccine may not be for everyone. Please consult with your doctor. Brought to you by Moderna.
An estimated 80% of Americans aren't getting their recommended daily amount of physical activity. It's time to move and keep moving, America. And when you need help, physical therapists and physical therapist assistants are by your side. Be your own champion. Choose more movement. Choose better health. Choose physical therapy. Find out more information and a physical therapist at choosept.com/NE. Brought to you by the American Physical Therapy Association of Nebraska.
Here we go.
Here comes the Sandman.
Ladies and gentlemen.
Adam Sandler.
1, 2, 3, 4.
The I Missed You Tour.
Should we clap along? I'm going to play guitar a little bit for you.
Adam Sandler. Live. CHI Health Center, Omaha, December 5th.
All right, let's lose that. I hate it. Sorry.
Get tickets this Friday at noon at Ticketmaster.com.
Don't miss this week's Zone Deal.
This week's half-off deal is Kops. Receive 2 $25 gift vouchers for just $25. Kops makes delicious pizza, fresh salads, and tasty charred wings. For the basic menu, click copspizza.com. And for the extended menu, visit them at Shadow Lake Town Center, 180th and Center, and the newly reopened 72nd and Jones locations.
Zone deals go fast. 9 a.m. Friday, 1620thezone.com.
Prescriptions require an online consultation with a healthcare provider who will determine if appropriate. Restrictions apply. See website for details and important safety information. Subscription required. Price varies based on product and subscription plan.
Hey guys, did you know there's a generic form of Viagra that works just the same, but is 95% cheaper? And you can get it online? Just go to hims.com/radio. Through Hims, you'll get a free medical consultation, discreet shipping if prescribed, a 100% online process, and trusted generic alternatives to the name brands at up to 95% off. That's right. Get generic for Viagra, the same active ingredient as brand name Viagra, but for 95% less. It's the same medication, still prescribed by a licensed medical provider, but with zero copay, no expensive appointments, and no awkward face-to-face conversations. To start your free online visit, you need to go to this exclusive address, hims.com/radio. That's hims.com/radio for your free online visit. hims.com/radio.
And we're back. Mornings with Sharp and Handley. Here's Gary, Nick, and Jimmy on 1620 The Zone.
All right, we're back for a final time here at Hy-Vee, 132nd and Dodge. We will be at the Shadow Lake Hy-Vee 1 week from today. Kim will not be there. Deb will not be there. Kim has been great as a host. Deb is cooking up all the grub. She's also worked as security, especially this lady here. She was trying to get handsy with us. And you're like, get away. Stop. But Deb is a diehard Husker fan. She's got GBR Freak on her license plate. She's going to give us a vibe of how she thinks it's going to go tomorrow.
31-10 Nebraska.
Okay.
That's pretty good.
All right.
Yeah.
What happens
So
at
they're
7 o'clock tomorrow night between Nebraska and Wisconsin volleyball?
The 10-game streak is over. Nebraska finally beats Wisconsin.
All right, little background, Deb. How long have you worked here at this
Love to
Hy-Vee?
hear it.
What do you exactly do besides providing security for us?
8 years, and I am the assistant kitchen manager.
All right, the other thing that we're going to tell you about Deb loves to write Husker poems. How did this start, and when will the poem be available for people to see it on Facebook or wherever tomorrow?
Tomorrow morning sometime it'll be on my Facebook page, and I just, about 7-8 years ago, I just started writing one, and then people liked them, so I just keep writing them every year, every game.
All right, that's awesome. Thank you. Thank you for the hospitality here.
Thank you.
Thank you,
All right,
Deb.
that's Deb.
That's awesome. GBR, absolutely. Thank you, Deb. That's cool.
All right, Deb's a big 1620 The Zone listener.
Yes.
Now she's
way
racing
back.
She's racing back because we're on a little bit of
We're on delay.
She's going
Yeah.
to listen.
Hey, we've all done that before.
Yeah,
right?
she dropped a Kugler reference earlier, so
Yeah.
she's been
There you
listening for a
go.
long time.
OG.
All right. As we wrap up here, Big Red Overreaction after the game tomorrow, 2:30 kickoff. Weather's going to be great. Big. Great sports day tomorrow from college football, the Major League Baseball playoffs, great UFC card, and, of course, what's going on in Lincoln and L-Town. We won't call it Crime Town because we want people to enjoy their time.
Yeah, at least for Saturday, no.
Yeah.
Sunday can go back to Crime Town.
That lady doesn't realize in her cart that I threw 2 footballs.
Thank you.
Wait till she tries to get out of here and the thing goes off.
Hey, the only thing in her car right now is Snow Beast, so she's getting the weekend started.
Snow
Right.
Beast and a football.
So 2:30 for football, 7 o'clock for volleyball. Could be a monster day for Husker athletics. We'll start with Jimmy. Some final bold predictions and thoughts.
Before I get to the predictions, to answer the question from earlier, Gary, 54-46 in favor of volleyball to football. If they had a choice to pick the tickets,
you're giving a score prediction.
Well,
like, damn.
Well, no. Yes. But they would.
We're getting
they
a
would
scoring
cover.
explosion
Nebraska's
here.
only scoring 54. It goes to like 9 overtimes.
I think that's 6 games total.
No, I do say Nebraska wins 27-6. And my pick to click, Anthony Grant, 22 carries, 148 yards and a touchdown.
Is Anthony Grant been your pick to click every week?
I got it 1 week, and then the next game I did not. But they have to get better running the ball, and tomorrow would be a prime opportunity to do so.
My 3 bold predictions tomorrow. I mentioned the freshman tandem between Malachi Coleman and Jalen Lloyd. At least 4 catches, at least 40-plus yards. Also, Nebraska defensively, I like this matchup. They will hold Northwestern to under 200 total yards. And Heinrich Harburg is going to run and throw for a touchdown. Pick the click. Welcome back, Luke Reimer. He is going to have a monster game, 10 tackles, 2 TFLs. And the score prediction, which I gave earlier, I'm going Nebraska 24. Northwestern gets 3 field goals, 24-9.
All right, so I already said I'm 24-10, so Nebraska covers. I think that's important that Nebraska covers tomorrow.
Great teams cover.
It might violate that rule.
Yeah.
Because Nebraska would be 4-3, and I wouldn't consider them a great team. But it's a step in the right direction coming out of a bye. And remember, 3 really interesting games here on the stretch. Bye, road game. So they're all different challenges. Purdue is on a bye this weekend. Their opponent next week. So oddly specific. Northwestern will be held to 26 yards rushing. Nebraska on their own will rush for 247. And the pick to click, Heinrich Harburg, out of a bye with the offense now built around him, will have a very, very successful day in running the offense. I'm not going to tell you if it's going to be a rushing touchdown, passing touchdown. I'm just going to say that will be that for this particular Saturday, he will be the least of your worries because I think he will do enough and he will be Heinrich Harburg, and we'll have to live with that for the rest of the year. There you go. I'm usually the one that hypes things up. I'm like, calm down.
Open up.
I put Harburg with a rush and a passing touchdown. I'm kind of there with you as far as being one of the solutions of this offense tomorrow against this team. And then if we're going Sunday headlines, by the way, I'm just going to go all in with volleyball. We talked about this before. Say it was a good day in Lincoln because we get a volleyball victory as well.
Okay. Quote Ice Cube.
Yeah. Today was a good day. That would even be better if they could do that. Now, I tried to ask Amy about this on Monday when you guys were gone, and then she got into the particulars of, well, they have the football section, then they have the sports section, so obviously the volleyball thing wouldn't be on the football. I said, no. I want the front page of the Lincoln Journal-Star and the Omaha World Herald.
Look, Grantland Rice. I'm just
give me the biggest story when you open up the newspaper, when you get your newspaper, the front page of the actual paper itself is celebrating 2 victories on Saturday.
All right. We will have a lot to discuss when we reconvene on Monday. Also, it's the final night of high school football. 8-man playoffs went off yesterday. Final night of high school football. If you're looking for the game of the night in the area, Elkhorn North, Omaha North, that's our TV game over on Cox. The bracket will be announced tomorrow, but by late night tonight, the Stews of the world, the Sodders of the world, and the faux Doug Woodards of the world, who is my go-to source for anything. If I'm having a bad day, he takes care of me.
That's good.
They will have it all figured out. I've done the math. I've looked at the math. Yeah, it could be an interesting night, especially in Class A, but that will be announced tomorrow. Saturday could be just a huge day around here, so we'll break it all down when we reconvene on Monday at 6. Don't forget, next week we are at the Shadow Lake Hy-Vee.
Yes.
Out there.
The Papillion Hy-Vee.
Yes.
Yeah.
You're hearing the promo. It says South 73rd, and you're like,
wait, where?
No, just Shadow Lake.
Shadow Lake.
Right. Big thanks to everybody that showed up here at Hy-Vee. Great to see it. Man, amazing. Daniel made an appearance. We had a former Husker that was in the house. And we had all the great people here at the Linden Street Market Hy-Vee, 132nd and Dodge. We got swag. We got Kim. So many great people here that took care of us. Thank you for Mike Neville, for Jimmy, for Nick. I'm Gary. Peter Krenzer back in the studio as well. Have a great weekend. Live, laugh, and love, and punt. And we'll talk to you at 6 on the edition of Mornings with Sharp and Handley on 1620 The Zone.
We're going abroad for the first time in years to Spain.
But we don't speak Spanish.